to the stream. We're gonna do some co-op today. And if it's anything like last time, it will be interesting. Last time I flipped a huge trailer. Spent about an hour trying to flip it back. I think I'm gonna give up on that and just reset it. So that's the goal today. This game is so quiet without music, but I'm always paranoid about losing my videos to music, so I just turned it off. Let me get my dashboard up. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at the map. I think I'm just going to go this way. I'm going to get used to the trail again. This is where it flipped, like right about here. Up in here, going over this little hill. I took it too sharp and it flipped it. So I'm just going to learn from my mistakes. This is going to be a co-op stream pretty soon, so I'm going to check for some other things to do while I'm fixing that. Find the radio station. Oh, that's an easy one. Oh, that's not too bad either. Although it's a huge pipe. What's my main missions? That is not what I meant to do. Again, I am not used to this way of doing things. Okay, I wanted to do this one, but it's not the one I was thinking of. Village delivery. There's so many things called the village, so Mountain River. Yeah, so there's lots of options here. Floating drill. That's right. So that's the one I'm on. Pipeline building. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like that's the way to go if I'm trying to finish these up. So the next one would be mountain delivery. Deliver oil, which is not fuel, to Mountain River. So if I check Mountain River real quick. Yeah, I hadn't even finished exploring Mountain River. But that's a pretty easy one. Okay. So that's the goal, is my friend's going to join in co-op anytime. Hopefully it'll work out this time. Let me back up. Okay, so while I'm waiting for him, I'm just going to fix and try to finish this map, or this mission. Last time I was using the Collab, I think? No, I was using the Paystar. Or no. No, this is what I was using. International HA. Yeah. I was using the International. I don't know. I guess it's fine. We're just going to do it again. High saddle. Here we go. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure my friend knows I'm on Discord. Alright. Let us go. I wonder how many times in the last couple months of streaming, when I I had one viewer consistently from the time I start. Was it a bot? Because right now I'm sitting at 0 viewers. Last time I had one chat member and they were a bot and I banned them. So I wonder sometimes. The same bots that just go to every single stream to advertise illegal services. Kind of depressing when you think about it. How much bots have taken over the internet. Alright, I'm doing all-wheel drive. I'm sliding all over. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it's not doing much. Well, I can confront the trailer and see if it's even worth trying to pull again. I doubt it. I'll just reinforce the fact that I've already wasted enough time sinking costs into trying to get it out, so now it's time to just give up. And this section is rough. I don't know how I'm going to do this on hard mode. I'm going to need some really powerful trucks like this. I keep thinking that I'm in Alaska, and I'm like, oh, I need to go, like, do the oil drill mission, but that was Alaska, so, Tamir. This is so bad. Like, this is the best this truck can do. I really don't remember a good way to go this way. Like, what's the strategy to make it through this mud without a problem? What is happening? It got, like, stuck on something? You see that? That was weird. I've never had that happen. The winch got stuck on, like, a piece of mud. Oh, I was also pressing the wrong button. That was the problem. Pressing the wrong button will be an issue. But, again, Switch version, buttons are swapped. So the last couple of streams for American Truck Simulator, I have a pretty good hankering for that game, especially since I bought 3 more states the other day. Very interesting to look at. Lots of towns, especially in Colorado. Idaho is pretty lame. I was looking at it and it was like half the places are dead ends. So hopefully when they make Montana, they'll connect up and it won't seem like a state full of dead ends. Oh, here's the trailer. It's like I'm so close to having it out of the literal woods. But I don't know. I don't know, man. Not a really good way to flip it back, so we just reset. At least this is a short mission, like, it's all on this map, on the southern portion. It's not like a 4-map transport. Yeah, apparently it's been very hot in the United States. So, hopefully it won't be too bad running my computer for half the day. I'm surprised there haven't been really any power outages yet where I am. Because it's been so hot, but you know, as the summer drags on with heat, it's pretty much guaranteed there's going to be some. So, alright, my friend is online. Well, we shall see if he comes. Click in. Alright. Alright. Where is the mission? Oh, that's right, it's a global mission, so I have to reset from here. This one. Alright. On Reddit, there's been several posts that caught my attention this week of people who did this mission and flipped it in the same spot, so I didn't feel as bad, but all of those ones said they just dragged it all the way to the delivery site. And I was thinking, the reason why I was, oh, they added that, why I was mostly against that was, I thought for these trailers they had to be attached, but I guess I've never tried dragging one all the way, so maybe it does just work. So that's good to know. Let's see. So that's a possibility if I ever have to do that, like on hardcore or something. Alright, my friend texted me. I just noticed. But yeah, this is life. The trucker life. Another thing, I was planning to do another Garen's Greed stream sometime soon. Apparently that's the only thing that really gets a lot of traffic on my YouTube, is people. There's not a ton of videos, especially recently, so mine tends to come up in search results. I'm one of the only videos in the last like year, and so my videos have been getting some traffic, but especially since I put English in and I modded it in, so next time it'll be even more of a showcase. Like someone commented and mentioned that I hadn't done the hack or the cheat code essentially to translate the pilot names, and in my mind I was like, oh well, I don't really need that, it doesn't really add much to the gameplay or anything, so I just didn't do it. But if it's the idea of a showcase, I should probably do that for people that are wanting to see what's possible with the mod, and that's definitely possible. Makes it even more English. I wish there was more I could do to help the mod. Apparently there's going to be more work done on it this summer, but most of the stuff that needs to be done is just translational stuff of dialogue getting translated and then added to the game. So I can't really help with the translation. I got nothing. I wonder if the other way is safer. I mean, I made it this way without crashing before, without flipping. But, oh well. Oh yeah, this one rock. The devs placed it here just on purpose to kill you. Okay, well, we'll pretend like I'm fine. Alright, didn't get stuck. That's the important thing. Oh boy, that is not looking very safe. Good progress though. It's annoying when my tires get like pushed into each other and they can't turn. That is not a good feeling. You see your tires stop spinning and they lock up. I pressed the wrong button. Might help. Like, what am I stuck on? Okay. Like, the trailer is just having problems. Oh, it's because there's a hill here. Okay, so if we go this way, there we go. Alright. Like, focusing it intensely. Do not want to flip. Okay, so it was right up here where I cut it too close coming up. So instead of cutting it too close, I'm going to go extra wide. In that last section, I remember last stream, I was like, oh, that was the hard part, now everything's fine. No risk of tipping for the rest of the way, but nope. Coming up here, up this next hill, it's apparently very dangerous. Wow. I wonder how hard a no winch run of this game would be. I saw someone try to do that in hard mode, and it seemed like very much fun. Because in hard mode, with no recovery, no winch, that's insane. Because that means you would have to pull out trucks by their own power. I think they added they could winch to other trucks, just no winching to trees or stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's more reasonable. If not, tedious. I'm going further left, but well, it could flip that way too, so I gotta be kind of careful. Alright, we're gonna winch to help this out a little bit. Make sure I keep pulling the right direction. Okay, my friend just entered the game. Alright, so let me just get this. Hello, you're on stream.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. I got a new headset.
Yeah.
And so
it sounds fine.
Oh, well. I got a new headset and I was trying to figure out the best settings, but I finally just decided to use my my Yeti microphone.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
That's what you're hearing now.
Yeah. Well, it does sound fine. It's funny, you called right as I'm on the exact part where I flipped last time. So I'm like,
oh yeah?
We'll see if I flip this time. I took the turn extra wide. And if I get past this is like the only challenge left of this delivery. But I haven't flipped, so I think I did it.
Nice.
So I think my plan for today was we're in Alaska, and I'm doing some of the main missions. So this is a giant trailer mission to unlock a bunch of other missions. So that's kind of the goal, is to do a bunch of oil missions today. Or whatever else you want to do. There's so much we haven't explored. I think the only time I was in Alaska was when I was streaming it. So I think that was like my birthday stream where it was you and my brother were both here.
Yeah.
And we just kind of did a few things in Alaska. So I was looking, and we haven't even done all the watchtowers. There's a bunch of upgrades that haven't been gotten. So lots of opportunities for whatever you want to do.
Sweet.
Hopefully I won't need too much extra help with this trailer. It took me about an hour of flipping it last time, and until I finally gave up at the end. But yeah, it was interesting. I almost got it flipped a few times. It was on its side, so I would wedge a second truck under one side, then winch onto it, try to yank it onto that truck, and I got it to work about one time. But then if I switch to the other truck to reposition, I lose the winch and all of my leverage. It's a shame you can't have two trucks at the same time winched. Even if they're different players, they don't let that work. But something I did notice today that I don't even think was last time, which was earlier this week. I feel like there wasn't an update, but something I just noticed was, you remember the thing in Snowrunner when you try to attach a trailer and it says you can't attach, and it would show you a little red arrow pointing the direction? I don't think that was in this game before. At least I never noticed until today.
I've never encountered that.
Yeah, so I had the giant trailer and it had the little arrow. It was like, go this way. I'm like, oh, okay. That's new. Okay. Right now I'm kind of stuck pulling the trailer uphill, but I think I can get myself unstuck. Maybe.
I'm trying to remember which one of my trucks is best
Yeah.
in Alaska.
I'm using my International HX for some reason. I don't know if I like this truck or not. I remember getting it to try it, and it wasn't disappointing, so I just kept using it. But I should probably get something better. Like, I have a big Russian truck, the Voron Grad, but I'm still using the International for some reason.
My International has a giant crane on it.
Yeah.
Last I used it was to get one of my other trucks out.
Yeah.
Sticky situation.
It's really bizarre playing this game in normal again, because all of my offline playing has been hardcore mode.
Oh, yeah?
It's so bizarre, yeah, because it's just like, oh, I have like $1 million and it's no big deal. And then I'm almost the same like level and percent complete in my hardcore, and I have like just a couple trucks and like $100,000 right now. I'm like carefully saving up for the next truck I'm gonna buy. So it definitely goes differently, and they don't give you the free DLC trucks at the start in that version in hard mode, so I don't have extra trucks. But yeah, anyway, it's been a lot of fun. I've almost 100%ed Michigan, and I'm afraid to move to another region because it's a big commitment and hard, since you have to pay to travel between regions, even if it is only a few thousand per truck.
Oh, yeah, that would be rough.
So I have to carefully plan. Part of that careful planning is doing this Alaska right now, is learning what's in Alaska and how to do it. Because I think my plan is to do all of Taymyr in Russia before coming to Alaska. It's just more worthwhile. You get so many free trucks.
Yeah.
And then I can take those trucks to Alaska. Finally, it makes sense that they made the game balanced so that you can only buy trucks in certain regions for Alaska or US, because that makes a big difference in hard mode. To be like, oh, Russian trucks are better, but you have to be in Russia, buy the truck, then pay to have it shipped to the US, so it's extra expensive.
Oh. Yeah, because wasn't it like before you could only use Russian trucks in Russia?
No, they've always allowed you to use them wherever, but you can only buy them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was mistaken.
No, yeah. I remember first, like, at launch, doing that. And, like, people were wondering at launch, like, maybe this is a bug or whatever, but no, they just left it this way the whole time. I really wish they left the other thing the same way, where I beat, like, all of Michigan pretty much the first day, and whenever you got a watchtower, it auto-added everything that you could see on the map to your mission list with the full details. It's like, why'd they get rid of that? That's what everyone wants.
Yeah.
Alright, right now I'm in a very muddy patch, so I may need a truck to help pull me through this. Get the extra
Yeah,
power.
I'm on my way with my crane.
Thanks. That might be needed. But yeah, this mud section. Have you done much Alaska on your server?
I've done 0 Alaska on my server.
Okay. Well, this section here is like probably the hardest section of all of Alaska, because the road just gets super wide and it splits into two, and both sides are just deep mud, and that's it. Like, it's very hard to make it through. There's a couple winch points, like there's power lines in the middle, which I'm hoping to use, but it's not going too well so far. My truck's just sliding around. I can't even get over this first little hill into the mud. Yeah, not even moving now. I almost got it, but nope. Even in low gear, can't even move.
I'm coming over.
Alright. Oh, there you are. I've almost used all my fuel too, but we can remedy that pretty soon. What else was I talking about before you joined on? There's a bunch of stuff I was going to tell you about, but it's been a week where I can't remember much. Oh yeah, there was E3 this week and stuff. But
oh yeah,
funny enough, the one game I bought that was at E3 was a game that's been out for a year that I just never knew was out. And so E3 was like, hey, here's like a bunch of random games that already exist. And I'm like, wait, I've never heard of this. I went and bought it, but it's called One Step from Eden, and it's in a very specific genre of what do they call it? It's Mega Man Chip Challenge. Like, have you ever heard of those games?
No.
Spin-off Mega Man games where Mega Man goes inside computers and like it's weird. It's like a tactical game, but in real time. So there's like, oh, there you are. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna grab onto you. Hold me.
Let me anchor.
Yeah. Wow, that's really helpful. Okay, so if you could back up, because now I'm already pulled as far as we can pretty much go. So I'll grab the tree for now. Anyway, Mega Man Chip Challenge is, there's like a set grid of spaces, like, I don't know, I think it's like 3 by 6 or something, and the idea is that on the left side, Mega Man can move between the spaces, and on the right side, all the enemies can move. And so it's all about just positioning while you're shooting, a lot like a normal Mega Man game, where you still shoot in real time and stuff, but it's just set on a very tiny grid for every battle. And the fun of it that's added to just having a more restricted Mega Man is they have like a card, almost like a deck builder thing added to it, to where you get, in that game, it's chips, which are like individual moves, and so you can do special moves based on what cards you have while you're just shooting normally, kind of like the Mega Man powers and stuff. So you can use those, and it shuffles up. Like, you use a move, it uses some energy or whatever, and then you can use a different move. You know, it's over time, you can do all your cool moves, and then it shuffles back up. So this game, One Step from Eden, is like that, except it's more of a roguelike. Instead of having like a story mode or whatever that Mega Man has, it's just straight up do runs that are randomized, and that's it. So after every battle, you get to pick like a card to add to your deck. So it's a lot more like Slay the Spire, I guess, as far as deck builders go, if you know that game.
Yeah.
Except it's the actual gameplay is real time Mega Man stuff. So anyway, so it's a game I recommend, and I just thought it was funny because it's the only game I immediately bought from E3, and it's been out for a whole year on Switch.
So they just, even
like
though it
trapping you in this corner, maybe I should stop. I don't know.
Nah, it's fine. I'm already stuck.
I'm like, this tree is helping me plenty good, but I wasn't paying attention when I was telling that story, so I'm like, oh wait, you're just here.
No worries.
Alright, well this will be good because you could potentially grab the trailer as I'm passing you, and that should pull you out, as well as give me some good traction.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have any game stuff you want to mention? New games, maybe, that you're playing?
Let's see. Lately, trying to think, like, because I've been playing a lot of games. I got Xbox Game Pass recently, and so just It really just feeds into my ADHD. I can
Because there's
play
so
a
many
bunch
options.
of different games. Yeah, there's so many options. Have you ever heard of Control?
Yeah, Epic Game Store made it free last week. I forgot to
Yeah.
mention it. Maybe you got it there.
I did actually buy it just in case at some point it got
All right.
taken off of the Game Pass, but um,
Yeah, I bought
recently-
it on PS4 on sale in Christmas, so I have it double time.
I recently played through the campaign on that.
Oh, so you're
I
already
like the
done with
gameplay. Yeah,
it? Yeah, I haven't
it was
finished. PS4 was a slog trying to do controller aiming, so I gave up, and now I have it on Epic. But yeah, so don't spoil it. so have you ever played Alan Wake though? Because I heard there's a tie-in to Alan Wake, and that's why I got it in the first place. 'Cause
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I need to play Alan Wake now.
Oh, dude, Alan Wake is.
And it'll make more sense.
I don't think, even though it's kind of old, I don't think I think it'll hold up fairly well. My favorite part of Alan Wake was just the story. So like if you like the Controls story and its weirdness, apparently they take place in the same universe, and that they're making a new Alan Wake game, and they like had an Easter egg for it in Control since it's the same devs or something. So I'm really excited because that game was amazing. And again, like it was a few years back, so you know it might seem kind of hackneyed by now because other games have done similar things. And maybe I was just more impressed because a lot of games back then didn't have as good a story. But man, it was enthralling to me, and I remember I think I got it on like a Humble Bundle or something, and then immediately I went out and got American Wasteland, which is like a short sequel, like almost like an epilogue, and that was cool too.
Oh, is Alan Wake the one where you have to like shine your flashlight on the enemies?
Yeah, that's
where
the
you
one.
can kill them.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah, it's it makes them vulnerable, and then you can shoot them basically.
yeah.
Or also just like make them stunned so you can run by a lot of the time if you don't have enough bullets. So I don't know, like I never got into like Resident Evil games and stuff, but I guess it kind of has that feel where you have like very limited ammo. It's kind of a horror feel. But gosh, yeah, it's just so intriguing. Like I really enjoyed the world of that game. All the mystery and stuff was a lot of fun.
I think I played a demo once upon a time.
Yeah, back in like the Xbox 360 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a game they should go back and put it on like Game Pass or something because
Yeah.
you know it's the Microsoft thing. I think it might also be on Sony. Probably is. I played it on PC.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
Okay, so are you still stuck? I was gonna
I'm slowly moving.
let you winch on, and then I got kind of far away. I think I might be too far. No, I can't tell.
Yeah, I think you are, but
All right. Well, if
I
you
can just recover.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you might as well recover at some point, but anyway,
Yeah, I'm
Alan
just gonna-
Wake's great. Yeah, you should play it. I gave it something like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 when it came out.
Ooh,
Not sure if it
nice.
holds up that much, but it was one of those games
Yeah.
where I recommend to people back then, and very easy to get on like Steam and stuff.
Yeah. It's funny to go back and play not that that's like a really old game, but just like older games,
Yeah.
last 2 generations games,
Hey,
and see how they hold up.
could you bring some fuel potentially when you come back? Because I'm gonna need some fuel, I guess, if you're recovered.
Yeah, you can just have some of mine.
Yeah, that might be good enough. Because I'm looking like all I have to do is make it down the main road, and right now I'm at like less than quarter fuel, so it's gonna be real close. So I might need some.
Yeah, no worries.
Anyway, yeah, I've been playing so many old games recently, and games I didn't know existed, or didn't know they had a different version. So like on PS Vita, I think I mentioned before, I played every Valkyria Chronicles game. There's 4 of them, but the black sheep of the family of those games is kind of a spin-off called Valkyria Revolution, and I started playing it on PS4 like years ago, and I think what was the turning point for me of why I just like put it down and never played it again was I did like the first mission, and there was so much dialogue and stuff. It took like an hour, and then I thought the game autosaved, and it didn't. And so the game like doesn't have autosave. Instead, it so like I did this whole mission, did all this stuff, but apparently the first time you get to save, you have to like wait until you get to the first town, and then it'll introduce saving and let you save. But because they never mentioned it, I'm like, surely this game has autosave, but it didn't. So I was pretty upset because it was so boring. I read a review this week since I've been getting back into playing it, and they said something like, I wish I would have just skipped all of the cutscenes for the entire game. Like, there should be an option to like auto skip because it's so pointless or something. I'm like, maybe I should just skip all the dialogue. Yeah, I'm stuck, by the way. So I'm gonna let you try to pass if you can. Oh yeah, you refueled me, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, this hill is like, I'm super stuck. Might be able to pull on to here.
Oh, oop.
Yeah, that's fine.
Stuck on a rock.
Oh, okay. I might have it unstuck already.
Oh man. Now I'm stuck.
You can winch on as I fly by. Like this. There we go. I think I unstuck you, right? It's hard to see in the dark. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that, and it's the original games were weird gameplay. It's like turn-based, and you run around with people shooting, like covering fire, and then once you press the button to do your action, everything stops, and you're given all the time in the world to aim and shoot somebody, like standing 5 feet away, shoot them straight in the head. So it's kind of weird. But in this other game, what they did is they just made it full. It's almost like an MMO the way it plays, where you have like a little party of people that run around together, and you can switch between them and do like a bunch of skills and stuff. But it's all played out in just like an action real time. You know what it reminded me of, which was funny, is Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you have a little party you can switch between. You can pause time to do some actions, like magic and stuff. Like, it's almost the same in how it plays out. So I thought that was pretty funny. And it's like, well, I like that game, so why don't I like this game? So I've been playing it, and I'm giving it another chance, because eventually I'll make a video on discussing the series and why people should play it.
Yeah. It's like, or just from your description, it kind of reminds me of, have you ever played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic?
I've played the first hour or so. I think that was another game I got on a Humble Bundle, but on PC, I don't know if there was a way to fix it, but I played through the tutorial 2 times, and both times it crashed, like, near the end of the tutorial, so I couldn't progress, so I just gave up.
When I had it on the original Xbox, and yeah, it crashed all the time, and it was always just hairy, because it was scary. Like, you never knew if it was going to crash while you were saving, and then you would lose your save file.
Right.
So I would always not overwrite.
Yeah, that's sketchy. I wish they fixed stuff like that for good games, because that kept me from ever getting into it.
Yeah, I really liked the game, but yeah, I don't know what was up during that time. I had the same issue with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 on the Xbox, is that it would freeze all the time, and especially when you were saving. And if you were overwriting a file, you'd lose that entire save file.
Oh, that's lame. Okay, so the goal now is, I have it pinned on mine. We're going to try to unlock and do all of the Blackbird oil missions. So the next one to unlock missions is mountain delivery. Deliver 4 oil barrels. That one's pretty simple. You just have to go to the middle island, get 4 barrels, and then take it to the next map. The other thing is after that, because that one's really simple, then it unlocks, let's see, which one was it? I've already lost it. Mountain pipeline building, which is metal beam, service parts, pipes.
It's a little bigger.
Yeah. So my thought is, like, we're kind of doing these in sequence. So even though they're not unlocked, I'm going to try to, like, get things that are ready to go for the next one. Oh, they changed some of the symbols, too. There's service spare parts that I dumped off near where we are right now. It's a little wrench symbol now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's new. Okay. So, metal beams. So I don't know which one you want to do. I'll probably just go buy a 4-slot trailer. So maybe I should do the one that, like, needs 4 slots. The mountain delivery. And then if you want to start grabbing whatever else of the other materials to take to the other map.
Yeah.
White Valley is where the other stuff's going. Or if you want to go explore or something, that's fine too. There's lots to do.
Yeah, I need to...
Like, there's a trailer store here, but I might as well recover. It's so weird having the option to recover. I'm, like, not factoring that in enough. Yeah, I'd say almost half my time in hard mode is simply doing things logistic-wise, like driving back to a garage, or going out of my way to get a trailer on the map that has fuel and then driving it to somewhere convenient. But I don't know, it's pretty relaxing to do it that way. The only thing that's not relaxing is when something really bad happens. Like, I got the P16 flipped over, like, in a river, and it was impossible to get fixed. That was my most recent screw-up in that game. It was really bad. So, like, I got, like, that big crane, and I kept trying to pull it, and the problem was the only times I could get it free, it would glitch into the ground next to it, and then go flying through the air. I could do that consistently, but that wasn't worth it because it would destroy the truck. So even eventually when it landed somewhere on the map randomly, it would be so destroyed that I'm like, I might as well at this point just recover it. So that's what I did. I wasted the, since it's a heavy truck, it's like $8,000 to recover. So that was a big mistake. But other than that, things have gone pretty smoothly completing Michigan.
Nice.
Funny enough, I was noticing there's a truck in Michigan that they added, like, after launch, that I still haven't gotten on this save. So at some point I need to go back to Michigan and get it for free.
Oh, yeah?
It's kind of in a weird spot. So, like, it's not revealed by any watchtowers, and it's kind of out of the way. So unless you're, like, staring at the map, like zooming in to look for shapes of trucks, like, you'll miss it. So yeah. For a second I was gonna, like, follow the pipeline. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a good way to go. That's not a road. What is the best way? I guess I'll just go this way since I'm over here. But yeah, hardcore mode, though, the worst part, in my opinion, out of all the problems it has, is that you only get 3 chances for any of the contests. And I've been good so far, but I am trying to 100% the achievements on hard. And so I don't know what I'll do if I don't get gold on one, then that makes that achievement impossible.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works exactly. Maybe they'll fix that, or change it, I should say. I've also thought about making my own maps for this game. I haven't looked into what tools people use for that, but at some point I will.
You can make your own maps.
Yeah, like, people can make their own mod maps, but, like, I'm pretty sure there's, like, something they provide from the developer to do that, but I've never seen anyone use it. Like, no one streams making maps. There's only a few maps that have ever been made that have been added to the game. So I don't really, and like they're really good. Like it's hard to compete because some of the ideas I had, people have already taken, like doing really cool desert maps. At some point I'll check those out. I mean, there's so much to do in the base game. I still haven't done it all, or even explored a lot of the DLC, so I'll get to it eventually. Like, there's going to be an official desert map coming up. I think the next one will be that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, no, maybe it's the one after next, but they showed a teaser of all their roadmap plans, and one of the things was it showed almost like a Grand Canyon looking area where I can't remember it. I think the name of the DLC is like deployables, and so they had like a deployable bridge over a canyon. And I'm like, ooh, that looks cool. Like, that's an item I want. That would be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully that one is not too crazy like some of the recent DLC that no one likes, because the new mechanics, I mean, where it's like, oh, you have to have a generator with fuel to do anything, to like even get materials out or to deliver materials or whatever. It's just like a huge pain.
Yeah.
Which makes it more tedious. Other than that, the new maps are cool, like the way they're designed, even if the mechanics aren't very fun. I haven't checked out the new Russia map that has the rocket site.
Yeah, I haven't been to that one.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk to you about Arma 3. So I was thinking, I don't know which DLC you have out of all of the possibilities.
I don't have any of the DLC.
Okay, that's good to know. But like they have like Alien DLC now and stuff. Like there's all sorts of DLC.
Oh.
Yeah. They have like World War II DLC. There's so many DLCs that I don't even have. But the reason why I ask is that changes which like maps we're able to do.
Yeah.
Because the way it works in Arma, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but if you go to a map and you don't have the DLC, if that item is being used, you can see it, but you personally can't use it. So like you can be in your inventory, you just can't equip it, and it's very annoying. Because you'll think like, oh cool, like I'm in the map, it must have worked, and then you like go up to a helicopter, like alright, get in the helicopter, it's like, oh, it won't let me. It's like, oh, oops. So I've been trying to consider that, as well as it seemed like it might be impossible to do some of the things I wanted to do, which were make mods that weren't really intended to be multiplayer, make them multiplayer. So that seems like it might not be possible. The one I mentioned should be the Pilgrimage. It actually won a contest way back in the day for like best map, an official contest from Bohemia Interactive.
Oh yeah.
So it's a bit, so it has some support. That was my other issue. Is like, will it have support years later? And
yeah,
I mean, with just the base game, there's a good chance. But they changed so much. Who knows how much they broke modding over the years for old mods.
Yeah.
So I'll have to test it on the new game. And again, I don't know if you want to have to download all of that again. But since we had talked at some point of doing Arma 3 again, I figured I'd look into it.
I think I still have Arma downloaded. I might have to check on that, but...
Okay, well let me know, because I was thinking maybe next time we'd do that. What I was thinking as an alternative to playing my favorite maps is just look for new maps that are considered really good, because those ones will definitely have compatibility.
Yeah.
And I can always do some of the ones that I've made myself, or I should say that I've modded myself, where I take someone else's or several other mods and combine them or whatever. So
yeah,
it's not all original content by me, but it's stuff that doesn't exist on the workshop, which means that if we did that, we would have to figure out, like, I would have to like send you the file directly so you could put it in your mod folder. But some of those are fun, like the the one I'm thinking of that I spent the most work on was I modified a really cool map that does, and I think this was in the mod contest or whatever. It was, what do you call it? It's orienteering. You ever done like an orienteering course? Like I remember doing it in Scouts, where you get a compass and a map.
Yeah.
Try to find your way. So that's all it is it's a randomized mission with a few parameters you can set. But the idea is that you find like a little post stuck in the ground, and you're given like certain clues for the direction to go, and you can make it harder by making it so like you can't use the map at all. But it's pretty fun. My way of modding it was I added things being possible like enemy patrols, and you don't have a gun, so you have to be stealthy while you're trying to find these things.
Yeah.
So that's my main contribution, and then I made versions where you could get a gun or you could find a cache of weapons, because once you get caught without a gun, like it got pretty boring because basically you will die. Like they'll just chase you forever. And so unless you're really close to the end, you might as well restart. So I started adding in like, well, at least you add a cache of guns in certain areas randomly, so that if you did get found out, you could run, look for a cache, and then fight back.
Yeah.
And it started turning more and more into like just a normal map after a while. You just ignore the objectives and shoot people.
Yeah.
But it was pretty fun. Let me go left. Okay. So that's one thing I did. I guess you and I had spent some time where we just messed around with Zeus mode. Zeus mode can be fun.
Yeah.
Spawn stuff in for fun. And again, I think when we played it, we were playing a version that I made where it removes all restrictions from both players and lets you do whatever you want, and makes you can have a player in the game and switch back and forth, and your player is invincible. I think that's what we were doing. So that's another contribution I made that was really simple, but it didn't exist on the workshop, so I just made it.
Huh.
So like, I like to screw around, and I like to also switch back and forth. So I just made a little thing to do it. Most people are all concerned about making it like a real-time strategy, you know, like an actual game, and I'm like, no, I just like to mess around. No goal in sight. But yeah, I still have the game installed on my other hard drive. I figured out there's a way to just have Steam have multiple install locations, so if I have 2 hard drives with games, it's not a problem. They both show up in my library, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's how I've got it. I've got my external SSD, and then my internal hard drive and SSD. That way, I've got them all in as library locations, so
very nice.
Steam's able to find it. Works well.
Yeah.
Unless I forget to plug in my external SSD and then my computer throws a fit. So it's just like, none of these games are installed. There's no path for any of these shortcuts.
Gives you a big error. My problem is I bought a 4 terabyte SSD external that I use to save all my streams on. The problem is if I turn my computer on and it's still plugged in, it will take forever, like trying to index it or whatever. It's be like 20 minutes for my computer to start up, so I always have to unplug it when I'm done streaming. And then when I start streaming again, if I don't remember to plug it back in, then my streams aren't saved. It's just not hopefully good enough on Twitch. I just use that when I upload to YouTube. But so that's my current external drive solution. I bought like last Black Friday.
Yeah.
Let's see. So at E3, There was Advance Wars, which was funny. The night before it was announced, I was going to bed and I was thinking about what games might be announced, and I'm like, well, definitely not Advance Wars. Like, I'm like, that franchise is pretty much dead to Nintendo, so very unlikely. And then they announced it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm happy to be wrong in that case, but it's definitely easier for them to just take an existing game and change the graphics, or copy it in a new engine or whatever, than it is to make a sequel to a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Which is why we're getting all these Tony Hawk remakes, or remastered or whatever, because they tried to remake it before and it was bad. They tried to make new games before and they got worse over time. So let's just do the ones people like.
Yeah.
And it works. Apparently there's 3 and 4 coming out. It hasn't been announced, but there's been leaks and stuff, and it's pretty obvious that they're going to make a 3 and 4 at some point, remastered.
I really liked the kind of quest NPC aspect of 4.
Yeah. Made an RPG, pretty much.
Yeah, you go up and talk to people and they give you quests.
Gosh, I was just playing 4 again. I bought it again on PS2 because I'd sold it years ago. And man, that game really holds up. It's just, some of the maps there are just really solid. I think that's what makes a good Tony Hawk game, more than any of the other stuff of gameplay stuff, is the level design is really important for a good game.
Yeah.
If there isn't fun stuff to do to make combos off of buildings and stuff, then the game just feels bad.
Yeah.
I know in Tony Hawk 2 there's I never liked the bull ring map, and so I was playing online the other day. I think I streamed that, where I was I did some speed runs because they have a built-in speedrun mode, which is pretty fun, where you do all of the missions as fast as possible, and there's achievements for that. So I was doing some speed runs. When I got done with that, I was like, I'll play online for a couple hours, and I kept getting sent to the bull ring level, and I'm just there's almost nothing in this level. I don't like it. Usually the competition maps from 1 and 2 aren't very good. They tend to be smaller, and I do like the warehouse though, Chicago as it was called in the original game. That was an amazing map. My brother would always get mad because I was good at grinding, so I do the endless grind on the pool and get ridiculous combos when we do score attack or whatever. What's crazy is and again, I'm trying to convince you to buy it on Switch or something, but because it comes out in a week on Switch. But it is what was I gonna say about it? When you play online, that's the biggest difference I've found between the original game and the new stuff, is online multiplayer, where everyone does stuff simultaneously in the full map. So doing graffiti with 8 people in the full map is insane. I did the mall, and I think I won that one because there's just so many objects in the full map, and everyone was focusing on certain things, so I just go snag up a bunch of objects that they hadn't tried.
Yeah.
So man, graffiti with 8 people is so much fun.
That sounds sick, because the original game was only 2-player, right?
Yeah. Split screen.
Yeah.
And honestly, other than graffiti, there's not a lot of good 2-player content. Horse was fun, and they still have Horse in the new game, but I'm pretty sure it's just not online. You have to make a lobby. You can't just join a random lobby, because that's such a commitment to sit there and watch each person do the stuff. But that was always our favorite mode, because you could pick whatever letters you wanted, so we would just randomly pick stuff and get a kick out of whatever it spelled. And the goal was we would want to make it as long as possible, so we just max out the letters and just pick random stuff. All right, so what are you up to right now in the game?
I was getting some service parts for the mountain pipeline building.
Nice. All right. Because I just finished that mission, so I gotta figure out what I'm doing. So if you're already getting service parts, I can't even reach this factory. I'm gonna fix this factory real quick. or I mean this
Okay.
pipe that's in front of the factory, and then use the factory to get some metal beams. Since I have a trailer, I can get both metal beams at the same time. So let's do that. And then, yeah, we should be able to finish this up within the next 2 hours. In 2 hours, I have to sign a new contract for my housing, so I'll have to go at that time. But,
Okay. Yeah, that works.
oh, fixing this is part of this mission. I'm like, why can't I go there? So this mountain pipeline building will make that pipeline appear. Yeah, that's where we're delivering everything, is to the pipe. I guess I can do the pipes. Small and medium. Let's see, where are you? I'm like...
I'm
Oh,
I'm actually over by the warehouse
I
and
see.
the factory.
I was looking at the map that I'm on where you're going to be delivering this, and like right next to where you have to deliver it, it has stuff.
Really?
For the service parts, yeah. So you might want to skip service parts. Oh, you already have them? Well, never mind.
I already have them.
Well, never mind. We're good to go.
Man.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, wait, I'm in the service hub. It's like 5 feet away from the delivery.
Seriously?
Yeah. I think the oh, yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah. That's the way it is. Now I'm looking for what else can I do. I guess I'll just go around and do the factory from behind, and then the pipes from behind, and see if I can beat you to it to delivery.
Well, I mean, I could just ditch the service parts and...
Well, I mean, you could if you want to, because by the time you get here, you'll pass by the service station here, so you might save some fuel by being lighter.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm right by the factory and I can pick up some stuff, or I could...
Well, how much space do you have? Just one slot?
2.
I'd say go ahead and still do the service parts, because now my plan is I'm going to go do metal beams, and then both of us can split having to do the pipes that are down here.
Okay. Do you think I should ditch the service parts I have, though?
Yeah, you might as well, because you're just going to drive right by getting more in a minute.
It'd probably be faster for me to just recover and drive there.
Yeah, it works.
That's sad.
Yeah, and I only realized it because I switched over while I was here. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I guess they wanted that one to be easy, because like I'm pretty sure you have to do the mission to unlock the service station before you can even do this mission. So like they intentionally made it so that you could do it from right next to it. In fact, all of these are like really close by. The problem is for the other stuff you have to go like a back way, because the pipe is down, so you can't go straight through, you have to go around. But for service parts, no, there's no problem. Let's see, there's some other games I wanted to mention. So like, new Metroid looks cool. It looks almost exactly the same as the one for 3DS.
Yeah. Samus Returns?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's a pretty weird remake. I don't know, I still feel mixed feelings about that, because I did play through the whole thing. And
Really?
in my experience, it was just too complicated. Like, there's too much buttons for too many powers. And, like, it's funny. Usually, I'm all about, like, they changed, you know, something from, like, Super Metroid. You'd have to pause to switch your attack. And then in Samus Returns, you don't have to do that. You can just, like, push on the D-pad or whatever to switch between all the weird, like, beam attacks or whatever.
Yeah.
But in my experience, like, having a back-to-back puzzles where you had to switch between all these things over and over was really tedious. Even by the end of the game, like, I didn't have all the buttons memorized, so that's not a good sign for how the game's designed.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I do feel that the 360-degree free shooting is in line with what Metroid should be in modern times.
Yeah.
But the counter system, I don't know, I didn't like it when I played it, but like on paper it does make a lot of sense and is good design, but I don't know, for some reason it just didn't click with me. Maybe it's because like I'm managing all these other random buttons for switching weapons, switch to missiles to fight, and all these other things, and then all of a sudden, you know, an enemy will be only parryable, so you have to parry it, and it's just like, there's so many things going on, I don't know which button to push to do this or that, because it would be like, okay, I have to parry, then I have to press this button to switch to missiles, and then I have to press the button to free aim, and then I can aim at it and shoot it for the 1 second it's vulnerable. It was just too much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. A lot of games, like even Zelda games, you can pause to switch items, and it kind of gives you a second to think when you're switching items. But not for Metroid. You get rid of that pausing to switch, and all of a sudden it's like very chaotic.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my review of Samus Returns. I played the original. That was the first thing I ever bought off eBay, was Metroid 2 for Game Boy. And it was good. Even if it was very zoomed in, you couldn't see anything, it still kind of worked.
Yeah. Samus was like a fourth of the screen.
Yeah, but like when you were fighting bosses, that almost added to the experience of claustrophobia, because you don't know what you're going to run into next. It was almost like being in a dark cave, and then all of a sudden you fight these bosses that half the time they're off the screen, you're still shooting at them and hoping you're hitting. I don't know, it kind of added to the experience. Even though that sounds like it's a bad thing. Like not being able to see what's going on. But I don't know, a lot of reviews said the same thing. They're just like, you really lose that sense of fear in Samus Returns because you can see everything all the time. Anyway, I look forward to it, and it's crazy it's coming out this year, so that's cool. They kept that a secret for a long time.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, it probably depends on, a little bit on, what you consider, like, the Metroid game that you kind of, like, your brain goes back to when you think of Metroid. Because, like you said, like, in Super Metroid, you pause to switch your weapons. The Metroid game that I think of was the Metroid game that I had growing up, which was Metroid Fusion. And from what I remember, I think you used the select button to change your weapons. Like, I think, from what I remember, the normal beam was just, you would upgrade it, and that's what you got.
Yeah.
It never changed.
Yeah, you didn't have to swap your beam back and forth.
But like if you wanted to use like super missiles, or maybe you charged up super missiles.
Yeah,
missiles.
I think that was it. Is you've got it. It's you had the missile button just like every Metroid game, but then you also just had to charge sometimes, and that was it.
Yeah, but it's funny to me because since I grew up playing Metroid Fusion, the controls for Super Metroid messed me up and seemed clunky.
Yeah.
Because Metroid Fusion, in my humble opinion, I enjoy the mechanics of Metroid Fusion a lot better than like Super Metroid. It seems a lot more fluid, and like jumping off the wall is a lot easier and more natural. You can grab onto ledges, which is nice, and I got like really used to that. So when I first tried to play Super Metroid, I would try and like grab ledges, which sometimes like it's easier to try and grab ledges than to actually land on the platform. But I would just end up falling.
Yeah, I think you're right about all that. Like, Metroid Fusion, I never remembered any moments of slowdown, but Super Metroid definitely has them in spades. Like, and also, everything was just slower. Like the way actions were performed, like even jumping, something so simple, it just took more time to execute.
Yeah.
And so it was harder to. You're almost feeling like you're playing in slow motion, playing Super Metroid. But yeah, I finished Super Metroid for the first time when I got the SNES Classic a few years ago. It's a solid game.
Yeah. It was also during the time of very little... The other thing I kind of got used to with Metroid Fusion was the storytelling. Where Super Metroid kind of relied on reading the manual and that to get the lore. And just storytelling through just visuals.
And you'd have to connect the dots of what the story was just by looking at it, pretty much.
Where Metroid Fusion had like text dialogue and you get like some backstory from Samus about her like previous commander and this robot that you're having to work with, this AI.
It's funny with the new game. They're like, it's the 5th game in the story sequence or whatever. And I kept thinking, I'm like, wait, what was the 4th game? And I'm like, oh no, that was the one that everyone hated. I forgot about that because I've never played it. I think that one was like a Wii exclusive or a Wii U exclusive. One of those consoles I don't have.
Oh, I thought that Metroid Fusion was the 4th one.
No, it's because someone was like, what did they say? They're like, oh yeah, are you gonna have to talk to Alan or whoever it was in this game? I can't remember. What's the name of the dude? Ask permission from your superior officer to.
That's in Metroid Fusion.
No, I'm talking about maybe that one. I was just thinking like that one's a prequel, so maybe it isn't included in the 4 before because it is a prequel, even if it is in the same universe.
The one. I think I know the one that you're talking about. The one on Wii where it would like switch between. It was like something view. Weird, like third person.
It was mostly like isometric top down view.
Yeah, and then you would switch into first person, but just to like aim.
I guess that was Prime 3. I don't know. Maybe that's why I got it confused. Was that it's actually a Prime game?
I think Prime 3. Prime 3 was a different one where you're just first person.
Oh, is it?
I think it was something weird, like Metroid Samus something.
Yeah, I don't know. My problem is I own Metroid 2 and I haven't even beaten it because it just, I don't know, didn't grab me. Eventually I'll beat it. It's for GameCube. But yeah, thanks for fixing that. Now I can escape.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to show up just now.
Metroid Prime 2? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so I have Metroid Prime 2. It's Echoes. That's
the one that I had.
That's the light and dark one.
Yeah.
Oh,
that one scared me so bad as a kid. I mean, I wasn't like a little kid, but it still scared me really bad. Like I would play that and I'd quit pretty quickly because I was so scared of dying in between save points. What was it called?
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'm gonna go get this drilling equipment because I already have a trailer. I'm not entirely sure what would be a good fit for what you got going on with your truck. So whatever you feel like. I mean, there's plenty of exploring that needs to be done, but whatever else you want to do.
You already deliver all of the other parts?
Yeah. while you were driving here, so if you look at the map, the factory that's right behind it has the metal, and then up the road a little bit where's where all the pipes were, so it was done really fast.
Oh man! And this whole time, I like traversed a mountain
Yeah.
to get those service parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what do you think I should do?
Like, I haven't seen, are there any missions that have, like, two small things? There's this fuel one, fire in a barrel. Where does that start from? Yeah, you can get the fuel from here and deliver it. Actually, Northport is where you start, right? So you can just get fuel from there. Where's the delivery to the port? Oh, well, that's one you could do if you recovered, but if you wanted to stay here, there's another oil delivery. But that's also from Northport. There's drilling parts.
I'll just recover.
Where's this drilling parts one? Huh. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so I found it. It's Metroid Other M.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, that game has a bad reputation. But, you know, I like to play bad games sometimes, too. Eventually, I'll get, like, a Wii. My parents bought a Wii, and they were going to give it to me, and then they, like, changed their minds later, so I don't have it anymore. So they took it back to play, I guess. I don't know. Eventually I'll play more Wii games. But let's see, there's a bunch of games that I've just recently gotten or learned about. I'm trying to remember what they all are. I don't know, I've been like sick for 2 weeks, so my mind's kind of gone.
Yeah.
But, other games. I finished something. Oh yeah, I finished 2 Zelda games that I had. Trying to finish all of the Zelda games I own before July when Skyward Sword comes out, because then I can finish Skyward Sword being all caught up on Zelda.
Yeah. It's another thing I got for my birthday was Skyward Sword. I mean, like you said,
Pre-order.
Yeah, it's a pre-order.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe you chose that, but I did give that as a hint to your wife. She wanted some ideas of what to get you.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I'm like, he probably
It's
already
very
has a
useful.
plan for pre-ordering this, but just in case.
Yeah. No, it was entirely because of your help, but I was thinking about it. I didn't know when it was coming out. But
Right. Yeah, I had that on lock. Like, I have it on my calendar, and I told her, I'm like, all right, it's coming out in a month. Like, it's probably going to want it. There was also, gosh, yeah, Tony Hawk's next week. I might have to get that for Switch just to try it. I'm so curious about games I like, if they work well on Switch. And then there's, what else is there? I can't remember exactly when Mario Golf comes out. I think it's like September or something. So that's coming up. And then Advance Wars is December. What else is there that I'm looking forward to? Pretty much everything on Switch, because I don't have a PS5, so any games on there, it's like, well, too bad. Like, I really want to play the Final Fantasy VII DLC, but it's PS5 exclusive, which is lame.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it seems very likely then that the next game to finish the series of them remaking it in multiple parts is also going to be PS5 exclusive. So that's lame, because no one can get a PS5 right now.
Yeah.
I bought a PS4 just to play the remake, and the remake is spanning multiple console cycles because it's taking so long for them to finish it.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think about it. I think it's been like 2013 was when they first revealed that they were working on it. And by then, you know, like, who knows how many years of development they were working on it at that point. So it's like, it's already been 8 years since it was first announced, and they only have the first part released.
Wow.
Which, out of the original game, is the first 3 hours out of 30 hours. So it makes me wonder what they're going to do to the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And they might do it in 3 parts. That seems highly likely. But anyway, so that's something I'm looking forward to way off in the distance, but I'll probably need a PS5.
Yeah,
what's on my list?
One day I'll get the next gen. As of right now, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, because they're not available. There are people who are selling them online for just like price gouging.
Yeah, it's about 100% markup right now. I keep my eye on it to see if it's ever going to be reasonable. And then that shocks me back into reality. It's like, yeah, no, this isn't happening anytime soon. Oh yeah, they announced a new Mario plus Rabbids. So
Oh yeah,
I like the first one.
looked like they were changing some of the mechanics.
Yeah.
That instead of like a grid system, you move around in a circle.
Well, you could already do that. So like.
Oh, you could?
That was already.
I
in the
never
game.
played the first one.
It was a little weird because it was kind of a mix of like maximum distance, but you had a bunch of free actions that you could like. So, for example, a free action would be like a melee attack, where I remember one of the rabbit characters I upgraded to have like pretty much unlimited melee attacks. So anyone who was within my melee range, I could hit each of them once for free without even using my action, and then I could use my action to shoot somebody at like point blank. But so like that was already a thing that you could just kind of run around in your space and do whatever you wanted. But mostly it was limited to melee attacks. Like there wasn't a lot else until you did your action. Like some of the movement stuff, like you could bounce off of your teammates to get further distance and stuff. So there was a little bit of that, and I think with Donkey Kong DLC they did more. I can't remember, but yeah. So that's like a natural progression of what they were doing to give more options now. It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I guess you could say, so it's like XCOM that way, where you have the little bubble of where you can go, but they actually gave you things to do when you're moving.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Anyway, so there's that. Oh man, I had it up on my phone, but my phone went to sleep while I'm driving on an icy road. So I'm like multitasking. Okay. Oh yeah, Metal Slug Tactics looked like Advance Wars. Like I saw that, I'm like, oh, I guess that's our Advance Wars for the year. And then we actually got Advance Wars. But yeah, it looks just like Advance Wars. Looks real good. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
It seems like I always play every tactical strategy game that is available that ever comes out. That's kind of my genre to be an expert on. Songs of Conquest, what is that? It's something I wrote down, but I don't even remember what that is. Homeworld 3 was, someone mentioned it. I don't think they showed a logo or anything. It was, someone was talking about Homeworld development, and it reminded me, like, oh yeah, they're actually making a Homeworld 3 right now. They just haven't shown any of it. They did like a teaser like last year or something. Like I totally forgot. My expectations are very low, considering they did Deserts of Karak, which was like a prequel Homeworld, and it wasn't very good. It wasn't that bad. Like I didn't finish it. I played like part of it, and I was like, eh. Like you took the best part of Homeworld, which is having a 3D real-time strategy, and they just made it like 2D because you're on a planet. So it lost all of its uniqueness as a series and just became a normal RTS that was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Homeworld was fun. I still haven't beaten the second game. I'm like halfway through the campaign. They did a remastered collection like years ago. What else is on the list? Breath of the Wild 2, of course.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Who knows, you know, when that will finally release. Triangle Strategy, which I call Octopath Tactics because it looks the same. I played the demo and it was a lot of fun. I kept trying not to get spoiled on like story stuff. I'm like, they pretty much plop you down in the demo and like halfway through the game, and so I'm like, I don't know any of these characters. Like, what do you expect me to care about this? But that one's pretty cool. So that's another tactics game. And then recently, that was another game I realized it still exists and that I had beaten, was Tactics Ogre for PSP. Which I recently, last night, I'm like, what's the deal with this game? Because it says it's made by Square Enix. Like, they also made Final Fantasy Tactics, but this is like better than Final Fantasy Tactics. So like, what happened? I'm like, how is that possible? Because the original, wow, the original game is better. I accidentally hit detach trailer, like when I was like 5 feet away from the delivery, and my trailer just decided to flip because I detached it.
Oh, dang.
So now I'm considering what I can. Oh, you're right here. Do you have a crane? You probably don't.
No.
I'm gonna recover to this garage that's right here because this is really sad. I'm gonna get a crane because I didn't have one. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying Tactics Ogre. It was really confusing, so I looked it up on Wikipedia. Like, what is the deal with this? And the deal with it is that it was a different company that made the original, and then it's very confusing. It's the people that made it, I think, left their company, went to Square, made the original Final Fantasy Tactics afterward, and then the company went defunct or whatever, and then years later after that they made the PSP version because they invited back the people who weren't at Square that also worked on the original game. And so it's like both of those games kind of had all of the same people that made them, just at different companies at different times. So it was real confusing, but once I figured all that out, it made a lot of sense because the games are really similar.
Yeah.
The big difference, though, is that Tactics Ogre is just straight up better. I'm like, I don't know. It seems like almost an expansion. Like everything, there's more units, there's more freedom. It's faster. Like I was playing Final Fantasy Tactics on my phone recently because I've been trying to beat it. I got stuck on the final boss because in both games you can get like soft locked really easily. So the problem is if you don't have multiple save files, certain missions will be like one directly after another, so you can't go like grind for experience if you save over your file halfway through. And so I got stuck on like the final boss. So I restarted on mobile, and I'm hoping to beat it without making that mistake. But like it's just so slow. Even the mobile versions, like the game's been out for over 20 years at this point, and even when they remake it, remaster it, it still looks laggy like all the time. But Tactics Ogre doesn't have that problem. It's silky smooth FPS. So that's also on my list to finish soon because I just picked it back up. That and Valkyria Revolution are my games on my Vita I've been working on.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember, did you ever play the Zelda games on like DS or anything?
No, I had a DS, but I didn't. I don't know. I got a few games when I first got the DS, and then I just didn't get games after that.
Well, you aren't missing much because they are very good. I think in most people's opinion, they're the worst Zelda games, and I agree with that. But what's funny is I was playing, trying to pick it back up for Spirit Tracks, which I think is my least favorite of like the whole series for a few reasons. But like, funny enough though, I like getting back into it. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to do this section in the temple where it's timed. Like this is the worst thing in any Zelda game because it's like this long section where you have like a 20-minute timer or whatever. And if you don't do it in time, you have to restart the whole thing. And that happens periodically. But I'm like, oh wait, no, that's Twilight Princess because the theme is or not Twilight. The other one,
Majora's Mask.
Yeah, not that one. What was it called? Phantom Hourglass. Phantom Hourglass is the one where it looks really similar, so I was getting myself confused, but I have beaten that one kind of recently. But I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Like, when I go to the temple in this game, in Spirit Tracks, at least there's no time limit. You can do it normally. Like, okay, that was my least favorite part of Phantom Hourglass. That was the worst thing ever. But other than that, Phantom Hourglass is generally a better game than Spirit Tracks. The worst thing about Spirit Tracks is the worst musical instrument in any of the Zelda games, because you have to physically blow into the microphone, and the detection is terrible. So you have to like play it like it's a musical instrument, like with proficiency, and like switch between notes, and it's the worst thing. Like whoever came up with it should have been fired, because the implementation is so extremely terrible.
Yeah.
The fact they shipped that in an official Zelda game is embarrassing.
I think that's my wife actually has Phantom Hourglass, but the biggest deterrent for me is the controls. They were like, okay, we're going to make this Zelda game, and it's going to be extremely specific to the DS.
Yeah.
So much so that you have to use the touch controls to just do everything. And that was something that kind of I didn't enjoy about the DS. Like, I liked, for the most part, you get a second screen, and I liked it when occasionally you had to touch the screen, but a lot of the games kind of overused the touch screen.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is our quirky thing, and it made me miss the Game Boy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is I think Zelda games have always been like they try to implement like the cutting edge of whatever Nintendo's technology is. The problem though with these games in particular, and why people don't like them, like you're saying, is because it doesn't control well. Like, that's the issue. Like, I don't have a problem with touch controls in general, like in the abstract, but in execution, that was the problem. Because having to swing your sword by doing a different gesture than moving, half the time it doesn't work. That's the problem. Like, if it worked exactly as intended every time, the worst part in those games is to do like a roll, like to roll into something, like hit a tree, and sometimes you have to do that. You have to like draw a circle essentially, or like a loop, and like it almost never works. Is the dumbest thing, because it just doesn't work. It's like, well, if that worked, I wouldn't hate it. So yeah, it's a big problem. But I was saying with the Spirit Tracks, the musical instrument, like, I will lose my breath for like 10 minutes trying to pass the thing where you're meeting up with the sage or whatever, and he's like, all right, I gotta teach you this song, you gotta do the same thing in the same timing, so it's a time-based thing. And you're just blowing as hard as you can in the microphone and hoping it detects it. On top of all of that, the worst part is you have to, while you're holding your DS awkwardly and blowing into it up to your face, you also have to have your stylus up and be moving the pan flute back and forth. So like my stylus is up, and like that's another bad implementation where they didn't give it enough room, and so like you can't do the entire range in one swipe. And so, like, you have to, like, let go and then repress, and the timing's really tight, and it's like, I can't see the screen because my face is all up in it. It's horrible. Like, I hate it so much. But, I might have to buy a new trailer. Like, I've been trying to rescue this for, like, 5 minutes, and it's not going well. The trailer's, like, stuck in the ground at this point, I think. Anyway, yeah, so it's just terrible. I think I might have all the songs now, at least. Like, I feel like I'm over halfway done with the game. But man, is it a slog. Like, it's not very fun. I did Majora's Mask 3D. That was the other one I did recently. So, cleaning up my 3DS. But that one was fun.
Yeah, I do like that one. My problem was I played that one, and then I got what was it called? Ocarina of Time. And Ocarina of Time has like controls from before the new 2DS, and so it doesn't have the what was it, like the joystick? What do you call it? The right? I don't know what you call it.
The right one.
The nub.
Yeah.
They didn't have that,
for camera,
and and there were just a few more like things that were just missing, and so the whole time I was playing Ocarina of Time, I was just missing the controls from Majora's Mask.
Wow. Yeah, see, I did it in the opposite order. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
And I did it far enough apart that I'd forgotten that. But yeah, those two games are great. The 3D adaptations. And I'd never played Majora's Mask before, so it was a trip. Like, it's really dark. Like, there's a lot of, like, just sad stories in that game.
Oh, yeah. And, like, just, like, the couple that were going to get married.
Yeah, that one was one of the last things I did, and I was like, dang.
Yeah.
That's rough. And there's also, like, the aliens. I'm like, this game has aliens? Like, what the crap? I was not expecting that. Oh, man. I can't remember if that was required or not. I just did stuff, and then eventually it was like, alright, I'm going to try to beat the game now.
Yeah. Growing up, I had Majora's Mask on the N64. And I never got it to 100% completion.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, I'm older. I understand what's going on a little bit better. And so I was able to actually get all of the masks. And that was fun.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
Do that. I got close. I had like maybe 5 left masks, and I was just like, I just want to beat it because next month the next game's coming out, so I might come back to it. But for now, I beat it without it. That final fight was pretty close. Like that's a tough final fight.
Yeah.
Came close to game overing. I'm like, no, this is so long. I don't want to have to redo this. I was trying to think, like, what are the hardest Zelda final bosses? And I'm like, well, I haven't beaten Zelda 2. That's the only other one on my list. I've mentioned them all now. So at some point I'll beat Zelda 2, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure that one's pretty hard from what I've seen.
Oh yeah, I tried Zelda 2 the other week, and oh my gosh, that game is rough.
Yeah, it's real rough. It's NES jank difficulty.
Yeah. Then added, like, when you're on the like world map and all of these little things just like randomly pop up to attack you, and you've got like 0.2 seconds to react.
Yeah, you pretty much just have to have memorized like where the patterns are. It's the only way to avoid them, and that's usually speedrunners, only people that do that.
Yeah,
even then they have to do battles sometimes, or aren't fast enough to avoid stuff. It's crazy. That game was weird because I was thinking about it. It really is the only Zelda game where you level up and choose upgrades when you level up. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't fit the series. But back then, there was only 2 games, so by Zelda 2, I mean, it was as much part of Zelda as the first game. But then they made Link's Awakening, and that's... I was thinking about the other day, like, it's my favorite Zelda game. It was one of my favorite games as a kid. But it really did solidify what makes a Zelda game, where they brought back, musical instrument, and it was like an ocarina. What was it? It was like, they call it a recorder or something. But like, they bring that back. They bring back the, I don't know, just there's so many things about it that was like the blueprint for every single Zelda game that came after. So that's kind of cool.
I don't think I ever played Link's Awakening.
Yeah, well, they got the remaster on Switch, which is still good. Even if it's
yeah.
And I know you said you don't like the little chibi art style or whatever.
I was about to say that's the one that looks like they're kind of like toy looking.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind the different art styles.
It's a good one.
Yeah, when Wind Waker came out and everybody was bashing on the art style, I was like, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I still don't like Toon Link. Like, not... I mean, at first I didn't really... I didn't love the art style. Now I'm over it, but I don't like him as a character. He's different from the other Links.
Yeah.
Like Breath of the Wild Link's pretty cool. I like him because he's basically a
Yeah.
soldier. He's a guard essentially, and
Yeah.
I really like the story of Breath of the Wild, of how he and Zelda get along and stuff. That I always found that was pretty cool. You get more Link Zelda than most of the games. Twilight Princess was pretty good. He was like a farm boy.
Yeah.
But no, like I don't know, like starting up Wind Waker and he's just in his pajamas and just like, I don't want to do anything. Just seems like a lazy punk. But I guess he does have a progression, and that's the third game. That's the only other game I haven't finished, so that's on my list to finish. I'm like halfway through. Not looking forward to that one either. That one's pretty low on my list. There's just too many annoying things that aren't made up by all the good things that happen. Okay, so now there's like a bunch more missions if you're running out of things to do.
I'm doing the oil delivery.
Okay, so the oil barrels delivery. Okay, so I'm gonna do one of these. I gotta find. Okay, so this is this town, so I'll just do this. But yeah, so Wind Waker. There's a streamer I watch who's currently playing through it for the first time. So I've been watching a little bit, try not to get too spoiled on what's going on. But I'm like, man, I'm not looking forward to some of the dungeons. I think that's what really makes a good Zelda game, is if the dungeons are good, then the game is good, like every time. At least in my opinion, like going back to every game I liked or disliked, it was always, if it had good dungeons, the game was good.
Yeah.
So
I guess I liked Wind Waker because, well, one, it was kind of their first attempt at a quote-unquote free world, free roam game. And two, I mean, I liked the plot, even though Link was kind of the reluctant hero in that one. I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed how it kind of like messed with the typical storyline,
right.
And how it was like this sort of post-apocalyptic Hyrule, except you don't really know, like people just kind of live on these islands. They don't really know anything about Hyrule. Whereas like Breath of the Wild, it's like clearly like Hyrule's there, but it's just been like demolished.
Yeah.
And like people have recovered outside of like the main area. But I don't know. I've really liked most of the actually I've liked every Zelda game I've played except probably Zelda 2.
Yeah, that one's gonna be rough for me. Honestly, though, it's probably easier for me to beat than like Wind Waker.
Really?
Because it's shorter. Like I can probably just sit down and just slog it out, grind for levels or whatever.
Yeah.
But Wind Waker, it takes some real patience because I still have a lot of dungeons left. I think I have most of the Triforce pieces or something. I think that's the point of the game I'm at. But apparently there's more dungeons after that, so I'm like, oh, well,
yeah,
never mind. My least favorite part of Wind Waker so far was the beginning, where you had to go on do the stealth portion on the pirate island.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Hated that. Figure out where to go and just getting caught. Just restarting over and over. But anyway, what's funny is I think Phantom Hourglass I like better than Wind Waker as far as like the seafaring stuff goes. If it wasn't for that dumb time mechanic, like I probably would like it way better.
Really?
Yeah, like even despite the bad controls or whatever, like they made the game easy enough that it wasn't a huge deal. But I liked going around the ship more in Phantom Hourglass than in Waker.
Yeah, that's probably my least favorite part of Wind Waker. Honestly, is um, anytime you change your direction in the boat, you have to change the wind direction. So you got to pull out your wand and
Yeah, the songs were kind
your
of annoying.
baton. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I mean, there's a lot of Zelda games that have done songs poorly, that's for sure. Like, playing Majora's Mask, I'm like, oh, this is so much easier than, like, remember Twilight Princess, where it was timed wolf howling, and you just get
you
so
had to
annoyed.
do it at certain points.
Yeah, required. And honestly, it's a cool idea on paper. It was just the execution is, like, again, now everyone is really music timing inclined.
Yeah,
And I'm not. I play piano, but that doesn't mean I'm perfect at keeping within a correct beats per minute or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's... I don't know. There's a lot to be said that's good about those games. I feel like we're just, like, saying all the bad things, but... Yeah.
We're like, oh, yeah, this issue that I have with it.
Yeah. It's just what comes up in my mind when I'm criticizing it, but no, they're good. I'm trying to think what other games were on my list. Oh, yeah, I really like Test Drive Unlimited. That's a game I've owned for PSP almost since I first had my PSP. I never 100%ed it, so that's... Maybe I'll do it, maybe not. Maybe I'll get bored of it again. Usually around 50% completion. I'm like, I don't want to clean up finishing the rest of the missions. That was a fun game because it was like an entire island in Hawaii mapped. And even on the PSP, they had it mapped. So it's pretty cool just to drive around Hawaii. It's such a big map. As you can tell, I like open world driving. But, and American Truck Simulator, I streamed that twice this week. That game is so much fun. And I bought all the DLC now, so now I have every state that they currently have. Right now they're simultaneously working on Wyoming and Texas, so they're gradually making their way east. But driving through Utah the other day was a trip. Just like, oh, I'm going to Vernal. Like,
oh yeah,
let's drive through. Let's see, wherever the freeway I-15 diverges down there. It's what's it called? Like Springville or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember the names of things. Spanish Fork. I think I did drive through Spanish Fork and like got gas or something. It was weird. And St. George. Drove through St. George. Like, wow, that's like St. George. That's really weird.
Yeah.
It's such a bizarre feeling playing that game. It's like, oh, the LA area, like one of the only things they mapped was like Santa Monica Boulevard. I always try to describe it. It's like when you have a dream and you kind of remember the real world in your dream, but it's a little bit off. It's kind of like that, only more accurate than a dream would be. So it's like, wow, this dream is really accurate, but it's still off. It's a lot smaller than I remember. I don't remember LA being like 3 streets and nothing else.
Yeah.
But that's a game I recommend for anyone who eventually watches this video who wants another truck game. American Truck Simulator is great. And who knows, maybe in 10 years they'll finally have the entire map finished. They're taking their sweet time.
I feel like there are a lot of is it the truck simulator games or is it farming simulator?
So fun fact, the Euro Truck Simulator is what started that trend of games coming out that just put simulator in their title and they are a simulator, because everyone saw how popular they were on PC and just worldwide, even though they're a small indie company, and they just started trying to cash in on that trend, and it hasn't stopped. Games with simulator in the title. But yeah, Farming Simulator is one of the first though, and they're a more respected company, even if the game is pretty jank. I've always considered getting it, and then I watch someone stream it or something. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty buggy, and unlike these games, when they have their bugs, like I don't think I would get as much enjoyment out of it to justify playing it. Like I don't have like any burning desire to farm. I tend not to like management games, and so if a game is too heavily inclined towards like manage your resources, then I tend to not like it.
Yeah.
Like, I always think it's funny when I tell people about Dwarf Fortress, they always assume I play Fortress mode, and I don't. It's like, oh yeah, there's actually a different mode in the game, and it plays like a roguelike. So I play that. I don't care to manage a bunch of dwarves and try to hope they do what I tell them.
Yeah.
It's just too tedious. Because again, it's like building layouts and managing resources. Like, that's just not fun to me. Like, I would play SimCity 2000 back in the day, but I didn't enjoy it. I mostly played it so I could make maps for the spin-off games like Streets of SimCity.
Yeah.
And again, that's just driving, an open-world driving game. That was probably my first open-world driving game ever, because you could, as big as you could make the map in SimCity, that's how big your maps could be. All right.
I've never played SimCity.
Yeah, it's a game, all right. I don't know.
It is a video game.
I don't know what to say about it. Like, I don't think I recommend it. And like, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, there really aren't very many management games I would even consider playing or have enjoyed in the past. I'm trying to think of any. I mean, technically this game is, but it's more of just about driving.
Yeah.
I enjoy the management mini games in the Yakuza games, but that's different because it plays out like a mini game usually.
Yeah, I've been thinking about downloading one of the Yakuza games because those are on the Game Pass as well.
Right.
And I've just seen how kind of quirky and random they are.
Someone described
with all of their mini games.
Yeah, it really is crazy. Someone described the games in the series as it's like The Godfather in the main storyline, but it's like The Simpsons in side missions. And that pretty much sums it up, because the quirky, like, short, sitcom level writing for the side missions can be a lot of fun. And then, like, the main story is actually pretty emotional, pretty good most of the time in those games. Like, what's funny is I was playing what's considered the worst game in the series, and I'm like, oh, this game's gonna be terrible, everyone hates it. And then I start playing it, it's Yakuza 3, and like, it was one of the most heartfelt main stories out of any of the games, and I really enjoyed that. But the reason why everyone hates it is the combat is terrible in that game. And so most people, I guess, were thinking of the game in terms of what's the action content. If the action content's bad, then they hate the game. For me, though, it's everything. Gotta take it as a combined package. So I really enjoyed the story in that one, where try not to spoil it. It's let's just say there's a lot of orphan children that are characters, and you get to interact with them a lot, and it's very heartfelt. But and there's other minor characters that are only in that game that are also really good. But yeah, that again, it was good. I'm on Yakuza 4, and I'm near the beginning, and I'm playing as a different character who's not Kiryu. And so I don't know when that switches or if it will, but I'm enjoying it. I've been watching people streaming the 7th game, Like a Dragon, where you play a different character, and that one I really enjoyed, even though it's like basically a turn-based RPG.
Oh, really?
What's cool about it is that they actually explain it in context, like in universe, because your main character is like really obsessed with the Dragon Quest games, and so like he kind of fantasizes himself as a knight, and so it kind of fits. And I don't know, it just really fits in the theme of the game. It might be my favorite Yakuza game. It's really good.
That's I don't know that. I don't know how I would describe it, but I like that. I like the idea of that the character kind of thinks in a certain way, and so that's how the gameplay is laid out.
Yeah, and like I don't know, with his character arc and the themes of the game, it works surprisingly well. Like when it was announced, people thought it was really corny and dumb, but I don't know, it just, even with the serious moments in the game, like it kind of works, even if it is kind of silly. Yeah, and like, gosh, there's so many more characters. That's the best part. I think that was why they did that. That was their explanation, was like they wanted to make it so it wasn't just a one protagonist game. Because most other games, there's cool stuff that could be done with other characters, but only like a couple games even let you play as someone else. So finally they're like, okay, you're going to have a main character, but it's going to be like Dragon Quest, where you have additional characters that join you. And so if your main character dies, you still instantly lose, which I thought was pretty lame. Only had that problem in like the final boss fight, where he has a move that can instantly kill you. So if he attacks your main guy, you just instantly lose, and you have to start all over. That was not fun. But other than that, the rest of the game was good. And I don't know, I really like the characters. Like, they give enough character development to all the side characters, even if a couple have a little bit less development. It's just really good. And so, like, recently, a streamer I really like, all the fans convinced him to play Yakuza 0. Like, oh, you would love these games. He's like, no, I don't want to play them. You know, like, I don't know, it's too Japanese or something. And everyone convinced him, and he ended up loving it. And Yakuza 0 is considered maybe the best in the series by most people. It's a it's a prequel, and that's how I started, because I Google searched, like, where's the best place to start if you've never played a game? And everyone seems to agree it's fine to start with the prequel. Like, it gives you more context once you start the remake of the first game.
Yeah.
And they're very similar in how they play out. As far as like gameplay and stuff, since the remakes were made around the same time. So yeah, Yakuza 0 is really good. It takes place in the 80s, so there's a lot of 80s references and like disco dancing and stuff. It's very interesting that way. Oh yeah, and that was the other thing, thematic. Like, they tend to do really good with their thematic gameplay stuff. So in that game, everything, like all of your upgrades and almost anything in the game, is ruled by money. And since in the 80s, Japan had like a bubble or like an economic boom or whatever, like people are very materialistic in Japan in the 80s. And so it kind of fits. It's like, all right, I want to upgrade my character. Well, that's $100 million out of my bank account. Like, all right. So that was kind of cool. I did enjoy the management sim in that game for making more money with owning real estate.
Yeah. I'll have to give it a try.
Yeah. So I recommend it. It's a bit can be a bit much with misogyny, or just some of the characters, how they treat women is not cool. So something to keep in mind. But for the most part, like even in Yakuza 0, both the main characters that you play as are generally like very stand-up guys who defend women and stuff.
Yeah.
And are good people. So they fight the bad guys who are mean to women. So that's fine.
Yeah, that checks out with a lot of the themes in anime.
Yeah.
Where like they'll have just like straight up perverts and just like all over the place, and like maybe the main character isn't, but you know, they're like a huge part of the storyline is just like how awful they are to women, and that can be uncomfortable to watch. And sometimes it's like it feels like you're romanticizing this, but
some of the side quests and stuff can be kind of questionable in their because it gives you options to be immoral or whatever. Be the bad person, but you know, that's the nature of an RPG, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes I try to be like mean-spirited and bad in RPGs, but I always have a hard time doing it.
Yeah. I mean, in Yakuza games, there's no like morality system. Like they don't. No one remembers if you do something bad. It usually only affects like other side quests that are related.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want to get the funny answer, or you want to be mean to somebody to see what they'll say. Like, you can do it. No consequence long term.
Yeah. Have you ever played? Sorry, this is kind of a random thought on that. But have you ever played Fallout New Vegas?
Yeah, I have. Haven't finished it. I played it.
That one. How far have you gotten?
I don't know, like 10 hours in. So I've met the different factions and stuff.
So I'll try not to spoil anything, but you could probably figure this. But after a certain point, if you do enough quests with one faction, other factions start to hate you.
Right.
And that just I really enjoyed and at the same time dreaded that aspect of the game, because it was like, okay, like I'm eventually going to have to make a decision on which faction I want to help and choose to be the ruling faction. But it's also just like I don't want to like none of the factions are like 100% good. There are obviously others that are like worse, like the worst ones, but so it's just kind of like, and then it leads to you having to like destroy the other factions.
Right, yeah. It's pretty extreme.
In some cases it's like, yeah, okay, these guys are awful, I don't mind. But then like other cases it's like you have to go, I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything.
Right. But basically it's like, do you want to commit some genocide, or do you want to, it's like pretty bad things in Fallout games sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, go into this building where there's a bunch of unsuspecting people who consider you a friend, and just
I did Fallout 4, and that happened in that game where I was just like, by the end, like I got really close to the end and I stopped playing for like a year, and then finally I was like, I just want to finish this game to cross off my list, and gosh, it was a slog at the end. I was like, dude, I don't know who I want to live and die, like which faction I'm gonna pick, like I don't really care at this point. Like, Fallout games just don't grab me. And again, the big part of it is the level design. Like, that's the most important thing to me, it turns out. And they're empty buildings with random rubble just do not make me want to play Bethesda games.
Yeah.
Like, eventually I'm trying to beat Skyrim, but it's such a slog because, like, every cave just feels the same.
Yeah.
Someday I'll beat
I get that
one, but I don't think I'll play another Bethesda game after I beat Skyrim. I saw they had a trailer for Starfield, right?
Starfield, it's coming out next November.
Yeah. Who knows if that will be good. I have no idea.
I'm worried that they're going to use the same engine, which has kind of been their downfall, is continuing to use the same engine.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of janky. I think they should upgrade and use something else to build their games, because I think they could really improve some of their gameplay. The Fallout 4 definitely had the best gunplay, but it was still a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
And still like had some of the clunky movements and like you said, a lot of just empty buildings and barren wasteland.
I probably wouldn't have finished that game if I hadn't found, early in the game, I found a legendary melee weapon. And so whenever I was in stealth or whatever, I just used that, and it would like one-shot any enemy. And so that made a lot of the stealth parts less annoying. But it was like a chunk of concrete with like a piston fitted on it, so you would punch and it would like hit really hard. No, I just flipped. I'm like 10 feet away from the delivery, and I flipped
Oh
the
no.
giant trailer. So there's no way I'm gonna be able to do the giant trailer.
No,
It's
shoot.
the same one I flipped, the same exact trailer that I flipped before the start of this stream. But,
Oh yeah.
okay, well I guess I'm redoing this one. What was I talking about? I was talking about Fallout. Yeah, the melee thing, and then I got some other legendary stuff. I made it a little bit fun. Again, like first-person shooters, ever since I shattered my arm, like they're just not my thing. I gotta take them slowly. And even some action games like Sekiro, I love that game, but towards the end of the game, the final couple bosses, I would have to take breaks of like a day at a time after playing for like less than an hour because pressing the buttons and stuff was too intense.
Yeah.
Like there's an optional boss near the end of the game called Hatred, and like he was definitely the hardest boss in the whole game, like bar none. But I spent so long fighting him, and then I would get warmed up, get about 30 minutes into fighting him, and then be like, all right, I'm getting worse at fighting him. I have to take a break. So it took a really long time, probably like a week or two to beat him.
Yeah.
Because I had to take so many breaks, and then the final boss for the true ending was like pretty difficult. The ironic thing though with From Software games is like there's like a skill level ceiling, or like a threshold that you pass, where it goes from like you getting absolutely destroyed every time by the boss, where it seems like there's no hope, to you're just good enough that you take no damage the entire battle and win easily.
Yeah.
So that happened, whereas just dying over and over and over again. And the one time I beat him, I took like no damage at all. Because pretty much if you take damage, you're probably gonna die.
Yeah.
But at least in that game, you can like come back to life. So like if in Dark Souls games, a boss might have like a super attack that can one-shot you. So at least in Sekiro, it's like, oh, I'll just come back to life if he one-shots me.
Yeah.
I was thinking about streaming that sometime because it's I'm on like new game +2, and so it's getting really hard, and I accidentally did a thing that makes the game even harder at the beginning. So for this playthrough, I'm like trying to do it on extra hard, and so pretty much any enemy can one-shot me. So
yeah,
that makes it so I have to be like really good. But yeah, that's a game I always recommend. It's the best From Software game so far. My favorite feature is they added pausing. What a novel concept. All the Dark Souls games you can't pause because it's like always online multiplayer. So being able to pause is a big deal. Especially if I need to take breaks from my hand. But yeah, you'd never think that in modern times, like that's the #1 feature of a newly released game. It's like pausing. Whoa, amazing.
Yeah. I've never gotten really into the Dark Souls kind of esque games. The one that I have played, and it's not really made by, I don't think it's made by anybody who's made Dark Souls, but it's kind of got some of those mechanics, is a Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And I wasn't expecting it to be like that, where you have certain save points, and when you die, your kind of experience up to that point is in this, it's attached to whatever enemy killed you, and so you have to hit them, and then you'll get your like experience and like force and life back. But yeah, that game was hard enough. I can't imagine playing Dark Souls. At the end boss, I had to lower the difficulty. I was just I was struggling way too much. But I mean, it was fun, but it was also really hard.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Dark Souls fits in a category I like to call, like, moderate difficulty. Like, they're kind of overhyped for being super hard. Like, I honestly think games like Zelda 2 and, like, the original Castlevania are way harder than Dark Souls.
Yeah.
They just tend to be shorter, so
Yeah.
people don't really think of it that way. But yeah, it's... I don't know. Like, I just really enjoyed those games. I haven't beaten 2. I'm working on Dark Souls 2. That's on my to-do list. And again, it's just like those games are hard on my wrist, so I have to pick carefully. Usually it's during a summer where I have some time and my wrist isn't hurting as much that I play Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2 is usually considered the worst in the whole series. The worst part about it is that every time you die, not only do you have the usual problems, but you lose some of your max HP every death.
Yeah.
So that's pretty annoying. Because, you know, and of course there's like a limited supply of an in-game item to restore it, but it's like you almost never want to do it because there's a limited supply. It's like, who knows if this run I'm actually going to beat this boss, I might as well fight him on half health. And, you know, because if I take no damage, that's the ideal way to beat him anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I do it.
1 second. Just 1 second.
Yep.
You're fine. It's... Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Alright. Just sliding my way along with a giant trailer, hoping not to flip again.
Yeah, hopefully not.
I'm like getting real close to the last area. I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably be a little more careful this time. Very easy to go off.
Had a rough go of it.
Oh, and then I get stuck. I'm trying to think what other video games are fun to talk about that I've been doing. I made a video. I've had one comment on all of my videos so far on YouTube, and all they asked was for a tutorial for how to do the English mod for a Japanese game I played.
Oh yeah.
And so I made a video. I was just like, you know, I figured the instructions were pretty clear because I didn't make the mod, so someone else made the instructions. Apparently it wasn't that easy to figure out, especially if you don't do a lot of like PSP hacking stuff.
Yeah.
And so I made a video, and what's funny is like the video of the game and the video of the tutorial are like by far my highest viewed videos, because I tested it. If you search that game, then I'm one of the first results because it's pretty obscure. and I have the most recent video on it. So, so there you go. It's like, okay, for the few people that care about this game, I might as well have useful information for them.
Yeah.
Wow, why am I stuck so bad? Man, it's like I'm so close to getting this around this corner. Come on. The trailer just likes getting stuck. I don't know how I did this the first time. Took this corner going full speed, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't... It's weird, but I would be... I would be careful with that trailer. You've had a rough time with it.
Yeah. Come on. Okay, I think I finally got it. But now I'm like on ice. Oh, nope, the tires are stuck again. At least tires on trailers don't pop. That's one thing to be happy about.
Yeah.
Because I had it like up on the railing. And I know those tires would tread, or those railings would tread my tires.
And there have been a few cases just in this session where I've just been driving and I don't know what I've been hitting, but I'll take some damage just randomly. I think it's like rocks in the mud or something.
Yeah, there's a couple parts on the road where I took a lot of damage this stream.
Yeah.
Please don't flip. Please, I almost have it. Okay. It's like at a 45-degree angle. This is really scary. Oh no, don't winch onto that. That's gonna flip you. I tried to auto winch. Almost flipped it from the winch. Okay.
Ooh.
Please don't flip. Please. Oh, okay, I flipped it. Yeah, I don't know how to take this turn. Maybe I'm not supposed to take this turn. I could literally just stay on this road instead of taking the shortcut. Okay, hopefully I can finish this before I have to go today.
Yeah.
But I flipped it again, so I'm going to have to redo it again. Because, yeah, I have to go in like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Video games are fun. Like I said, my recommendation of the day is One Step from Eden, because I only knew about Mega Man Chip Challenge from a friend who speedruns them, and they're very obscure Game Boy Advance games. Like, I don't know why I never heard of them. Like, I would have loved that as a kid, playing a game like that.
So are they're official games?
Like, oh yeah, they're
oh,
real,
I thought it
real things.
Oh, I thought they were. I don't know why I thought that you said they were fan made.
No, it sounds like it. That's one thing about it, is like Mega Man has such a very specific gameplay and so many games that some of the obscure spin-offs, I guess, even though they were released in the US, they're not even a Japanese exclusive. I just have never seen them at a store, and I've never heard of someone playing them except on the internet.
I think that's what it was. I think you said spin-off, and I don't know why, but my brain kind of filled that in as like spin-off made by fans.
Yeah, no, they're real. And what's crazy is like Mega Man. I played Mega Man 11, so there's at least 11 main Mega Man games.
Yeah.
But the spin-off has like something like 8 or 9. You know, so like something to do with Mega Man. They love just making game after game after game. Because like same thing with Mega Man X. It's like, all right, we're gonna do a little bit different thing, and now there's like 10 games of that. And so Mega Man Chip Challenge, there's like 10 games of that. And again, like I think all of them are on Game Boy Advance. Maybe the newest ones were on DS or something. But like it's kind of crazy how many they came out with for basically one system. Just like Mega Man on NES, there's like 5. Like if you include Japanese only ones, there's like 5 or something.
Yeah.
And then they moved to Super Nintendo. It's like, okay. Yeah, Mega Man 11 wasn't very good. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Mega Man genre. It doesn't appeal to me.
When I was young, I first started playing, like the first Mega Man I'd ever played was Mega Man X. And so when I got older and had a Wii, I was like, oh, look, a Mega Man game. Like, I'll buy that. Only to find out that Mega Man X was like a lot different from the main Mega Man games.
Yeah.
Um,
In my mind, it's like the same thing as Castlevania. It's very similar. They just come out with lots of games. It's just very hard difficulty games.
Yeah.
And then they have a different version. So like with Castlevania, you have the old school versions where it's just you play through and that's it. And then they have the what do they call it? Igavanias. Iga, the director of those games, where it's like an RPG and you level up. And like it's funny. It's kind of reminds me of the Zelda thing we were talking about. It's as if Zelda, if they had a spin-off where they just made like 10 games with leveling up and side-scrolling.
Yeah.
It's that different, where it's just like, oh, it's kind of the same, but I mean, all the Castlevania games are side-scrolling except 64, which I had, and boy, is that one a tough one. Never beat that one, but that one's in 3D. But all the rest are side-scrolling, and I don't know, like the RPG ones kind of appeal to me, even though I don't like Castlevania games usually. Because I had the Game Boy ones. It's funny, that was my introduction to Mega Man and Castlevania, was the Game Boy games of like the first iteration of Game Boy games for those, and they're okay. They're pretty good as far as Game Boy games go, but didn't make me like the game series.
Yeah. I think my favorite Mega Man that I ever played was also, I don't know if it's obscure or not, but it was the Mega Man that was released on the N64.
Oh, right. That one.
And I don't know if they ever did anything similar to it again, but I played that game so much. We didn't own it, but we would rent it, and my friends would rent it, and I don't know why. I just really liked that game. It didn't, you know, how, like, especially a lot of more, I don't know what you would call it. It's not a JRPG, but it's kind of like
Has a story.
more of like a, I don't know, but it's got that story that doesn't really make sense unless you know kind of the background of it. And I didn't know the background, and so like there were these random characters I'd never heard of before, and there were like cutscenes that like didn't make any sense.
Right.
But I loved that game. I played it a ton.
Yeah, I had Bomberman 64. You ever play that one?
Yeah,
I
played that one a lot too.
Game. I don't think I beat it. I got like right near the end. But
yeah,
that one was tough because it was like very puzzly, and the 3D and like the controls were just not working well. But I was thinking about Bomberman because they had Bomberman Battle Royale, and I played some of that on Switch. That was kind of fun. But I like the classic Bomberman. I remember playing the NES game at someone's house, and I was like, oh yeah, this game's so good. And then I played the Game Boy game. Whoa, okay. I just drove on top of the bridge. I didn't know you could do that, but apparently you can. Okay, like it's the metal bridge that has the brackets on the side, and I drove like halfway up the side on accident.
Oh,
so apparently you can drive up there. It's Wario Blast featuring Mega Man, and so it's branded Wario, but really you could be Wario or Mega Man, and it's, in my opinion, the best Bomberman game that's ever been made. Like I bought it a used copy recently, and the way it works is that it's a sequence of missions, kind of like the original Bomberman, like single player. It's just a sequence of maps that you have to complete, defeating all the enemies. But the twist is that you slowly, with each world, gain progression in skills. So it gradually gives you more and more powerful permanent upgrades to your character. And so it, like, in that way, teaches you how to do all the advanced things in Bomberman games without throwing it at you all at once. And then you have to use those things in the new world to, like, deal with whatever the new challenges are. So like, I think one of the last upgrades is like you can jump over gaps with a motorcycle or something, and so you use that, in that world, or you can jump over blocks or something. I can't remember, something like that. And there's boss battles. That's another thing that I think was missing from a lot of Bomberman games, where you have to like hit the boss a certain number of times with bombs.
Yeah.
And they're like massive and do a bunch of crazy attacks. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt more like a Zelda game in the combat, like Zelda 1 or something, or Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. Definitely lives up to the hype that I'm giving it of being the best Bomberman game.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing that game and wanting it because on the Game Boy, I had Wario Land.
Yeah, that was
and I had a Bomberman that was for the Game Boy.
Oh,
but it wasn't
like
that
an RPG one or something, because I think most of the other ones are like kind of had an overworld or an RPG story, right?
Yeah. So, well, it was the Bomberman game.
Yeah.
It was like level by level. What you would do is each level you'd have to defeat all of the enemies and then go to the exit. And then every 3 levels there was a boss.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
I really liked that game. I played it a lot.
That sounds like it's the same. Maybe they made one that didn't have Wario, but was the same thing. 'Cause that sounds like the same thing.
Yeah, it didn't have Wario, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Maybe that was a thing where that was closer to the launch of the Game Boy, the one you had, and then later when Wario came out, they just re-released it.
I think so.
I didn't know that. Okay.
It's funny because I always hoped that like one of my friends would have the same Bomberman game so I could link up and play it with them. Mm-hmm. But that never happened. I didn't know too many people who had Game Boys.
Yeah, sadly, me too. Like, I had one friend in elementary school who I went to his birthday party one year, and his mom got him like a Game Boy Color, but I had like original Game Boy, so he had all the color games, and they weren't compatible with mine. Yeah. So like, we didn't have the same games ever.
Yeah.
And that was the best I did. And then I had a friend who had a GBA. I was thinking about this just today because thinking of Advance Wars. That's how I first played Advance Wars. Was we did a swap where my parents were like, okay, if you're gonna have a friend borrow a game, the rule is each of you gets to borrow one of the other's games, so that if you lose it or whatever, you know, it's equal stakes on both sides or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And what's funny is I gave him my first GBA game, which was Super Mario World, which is still an amazing GBA game. And he gave me Advance Wars to borrow, and he moved away or something, so I ended up keeping his Advance Wars. And I really wish I still had my Super Mario World, because again, that's the best version of that game.
Yeah.
Added features and stuff, but whatever. By the way, I have to restart this mission for the 4th time because it flipped again. I went the long way, and I'm on like the final turn, and I just flipped it again. So I don't think I'll finish this today. We're gonna do something else. But so I had Advance Wars, and the first Advance Wars isn't that great because very limited. Like, you do the campaign is just linear. Like, you just do one mission, you do the next mission, and that's how it works. Really, the first game was all about either multiplayer or just doing individual missions that they had built in, and even a level editor, so you can make your own levels.
Wow.
And do some pretty crazy stuff. So like, that was really cool. And then the second game really made an amazing campaign, so much so that I played through the second campaign like many times, probably like 5 times all the way through. So that's a really good one. I was thinking about Advance Wars 2 because I'm trying to finish Game Boy Wars 3, which released the same month as Advance Wars. So they're worked on by different teams, but they're both Wars games. The problem is Game Boy Wars 3 was released only in Japan, so most people haven't played that series because all 4 of the Game Boy Wars games only in Japan. But at some point I'll make a video about Advance Wars, maybe closer to the time about when it's going to come out, the new one. explaining all the different games and why you should play some of the old ones, um, and the fact that they have English mods for most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really need it that much. Like, you just look at the picture of the unit and go, okay, I know what that is. That's an infantry.
Yeah.
But sometimes it helps.
Yeah. On my Wii, kind of an intersection of Bomberman and games in Japanese. I bought the first Bomberman game that I could find, and it was actually up to 5 players, which was always fun with my family. But it was fully in Japanese, and none of us spoke Japanese, so I just like memorized what the symbols like correlated with. I could be like, oh yeah, that's to start. This one's to like character selection, and it's just kind of funny, like thinking about that now. That it, I mean, and it wasn't even like the specific characters, like looking at it and going, okay, this specific shape followed by this specific shape. It was just like the overall look of the word, because I think most of it was in katakana.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
So it was like, okay, I know that word is for multiplayer.
I might have told you this story, but I was thinking about it the other day. I actually looked it up, and now it has an English mod, which is cool. But there's a Super Nintendo Dragon Ball Z game that's an RPG. And
oh, really?
Imagine playing through an entire RPG in Japanese with no guide, no anything, because it was just only Japanese, and it was the early days of the internet. But yeah, so I played through that. So I went and looked it up, and yeah, it has an English mod now, so you can play the whole thing in English. But that game was a lot of fun, and I remember distinctly like what the katakana for chi is, because Goku's wife is Chi-Chi, and so it's just 2 of those.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I know what the Chi-Chi card does, or when I'm looking through the menu trying to decide which card to play. That game was so interesting. That was another game where I wish they would make more games like that. It's a lot like what I've been describing, like a deck builder, sort of, in addition to like a regular turn-based RPG, where instead of a deck, it's almost like a deck of cards, so you don't actually change what's in the play deck, but you get extra cards that are like items. So in that sense, it's like a deck builder, because you just have a bunch of items that look like the cards that you get to play. But some of the fun things you could do in that game, where my favorite thing was to keep every character alive through the Saiyan saga. So if you remember in the show, like, all of the minor characters that were in Dragon Ball basically get killed during the fight with Nappa and Vegeta. So you can keep them alive, and then they go to Namek, and like you just keep them alive the whole game if you want. So that was cool. And then you could have them die at strategic moments to make Goku go Super Saiyan. Like, there's some cool stuff you could do like that. Or like one item you get near the end is you can get the dragon. So basically you get a wish as an item. And so you could do like some crazy stuff with that, where you could like revive a character who was permanently dead, or you could like make someone go Super Saiyan, or like you could do all sorts of like weird stuff in that game that was really creative, that I don't see in other games on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one. And more recently, the game that I translated or applied a mod to translate was pretty interesting. Sorry, I'm like messing up what I'm doing right now. Okay. It was one of those things where I just memorized all of the menus. The problem, though, is that there's enough story that I could really mess things up. And so that was my bigger issue, is I was able to play through the campaigns and like make decisions that you're forced to make. And basically what happened when I figured out the English mod was that I had chosen yes to every question. And I just think that's the funniest thing. It's like I'm running a military campaign, I'm the head general, and it's like, sir, should we do this? And I just always say like, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Like, sir, there's a couple like important story things where it like change who the enemy would be for the next section, and it'd be like, oh, like, sir, should we recruit the leader of the enemy forces? I'd be like, yeah, sure. It's like, oh no, now the enemies are guys who defected because they didn't like that decision. And I'm like, yeah, oh okay, let's fight them. Like whatever. So like I don't know. Yeah, now that I have the English stuff, it's like, oh, I can actually do different things than that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Instead of just
It's
being
funny.
like, I don't know what you're saying to me right now because I don't speak Japanese. So yes.
Yeah.
One of the fun things that I'm going to do next stream with that game is I played the first few turns in English, and I got super lucky on something where you can steal the enemy like plans to make their units, but it's very rare to happen, and so I got it like very early on. So I'm going to make like a crazy like alternate universe army of all their units. So that'll be fun. There was also there's a lot of stupid things I do in that game. I'm like trying to think like it's like just make mass units of like one unit. Like okay, my entire army is one unit, just like 100 of them. And like I don't know, not very good military strategy, I guess is my point, but it's funny. Because then the enemy AI is smart enough to be like reactive, and so they'll be like, oh, we're facing a lot of this unit, let's make something that defeats that. And so like I'll have an entire army of one unit that has a critical flaw, and then just switch to something that defeats the thing that defeats it on purpose. So it's just like, oh, your entire army is now like anti-air, I'll just switch to ground units, haha. Like I don't know. Basically, I just play that game for stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like messing with the AI. I wish I could do that more in Game Boy Wars. That game is like so difficult. I feel like I have over 100 hours and I'm like halfway through the campaign. It's so long.
Yeah.
I think I told you the problem with that game is in the campaign you retain units and like they gain experience even, which is weird for Advance Wars. So like if I fought the previous battle and it was very hard-won victory, I might only have 5 units left over. But the way they balance the game is, well, the next battle is like this massive sea invasion that I have to do, and the enemy starts with like 30 high-tier units. It's like, oh, if I don't start with units, like I have no way of beating them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Like, it's pretty impossible. You can go back and replay missions to, like, gain more experience and stuff. But the problem is, they also made it so you can't farm it too easily by putting turn limits. So if you don't beat the enemy within a certain turn limit, you instantly lose. So it's just very tedious to be like, okay, I have to go back, play a naval mission, make a bunch of ships that don't get killed, and then beat them within a certain amount of time. And it's like, that could take hours just to do that one map like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of tedious. I might mod the game, because people have done like balance mods, because, I mean, maybe it's realistic. Maybe they were thinking like, in real life, battleships are super expensive. And so like, it takes your entire economy like 1 or 2 full turns to get enough money to build one warship most of the time.
Yeah.
But ground units are super cheap. So it's like, oh, I'll just build a bunch of ground units, and then I have to do like a naval invasion. It's like, uh-oh, those ground units aren't doing me much good if I have to cross the water.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I could probably stream that game at some point, because, I mean, I just hook up an emulator to it.
Yeah.
That's mainly how I played it in the first place, was it's easier to play on like my DS, my 3DS, than it is on my actual like Game Boy Advance, because I don't have any backlit Game Boys. You know?
Yeah.
All I had is Game Boy.
Yeah, we had the SP. I mean, my little brother did. But it I don't know what happened, but somebody broke the backlight. And so after a while it was like, okay, this is just as like not useless, but hard to use as our GBAs. We had these little lights that you attach.
Yeah, I had that. The classic parents fallacy of seeing something that could be useful and buying it for your kid, and it's just like,
Yeah.
no, it just does not work. Probably should have read a product
Yeah.
review, Mom. These things.
Those-
Well, I
those
mean,
little-
they were better than nothing in pitch black
Yeah.
or whatever, but like, man, they would just be a big reflection on your screen from the
Yeah,
light.
yeah. You get the huge glare, and so you'd have to sit there and adjust it and try and get it
Like, turn it
to an
sideways.
angle where it where it lights it up but doesn't glare, and then it's probably annoying for people around you. I never thought about that because I was a kid.
Yeah. Big old bright light.
But-
Yeah, that was a backseat Game Boy nostalgia
Yeah.
moment. Because I did that with the original Game Boy on a road trip,
Mhm.
play Game Boy. But like when I had the light, I didn't have a light for the original, so
Yeah.
at least I had a light for the Game Boy Advance, so I could. We were driving for 10 hours on a long road trip. I could play it still. Although
Yeah.
batteries only lasted like 5 hours, so
Yeah.
it would not last me the whole trip. But yeah, little light, man, that takes me back. I also had the what's funny is I didn't have a link cable for the original Game Boy, but I had it for the GBA, and I think I bought it because I'm like, oh, they have it here. They have a 4-way connector. It connects 4 people with one cord, and it connects in the middle. I'm like, that's cool, but I don't think it ever worked. I think it was just like a scam or something, and I never realized until like way later when my brother got a GBA when it didn't work, and I was like, oh, I got scammed. Like, this thing doesn't even work.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, that doesn't even make sense because normally GBAs, I'm trying to think. There's a setup you do when you play like Four Swords Adventure or whatever, because I have that
Yeah.
on GBA, and like, I don't know, it certainly wasn't whatever peripheral I bought, off-brand thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny, it took that long for me to realize, and I think we were trying to like trade Pokemon because we had a couple of the Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon games we were trying to trade. But then I think back, like, even though we wanted to trade, it wasn't a big deal because we could just use Pokemon Stadium. Pokemon Stadium has that, where we had 2 packs that came with it because we bought it used from somebody, so they had 2 game packs, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, and a bunch of other games, and so you just hook it up, both games, to the 2 controllers, and you were good to go.
Nice.
So that was a lifesaver. But I mean, it's funny, I got into Pokemon way later than everyone else because I was always I don't know. I guess it got popular at school and I didn't have it, so like I started to make fun of it and be like, oh, that's a dumb like kids game or whatever, that kind of thing. But then a friend of mine was like, hey, I'll give you my Pokemon game for free, like I don't want to play it anymore, like I'm done, I beat it. I'm like, sweet. So I like was super excited to play it. What got me into Pokemon was getting those free Pokemon Stadium games where I played all the other games, and after the 3rd time dying in Castlevania 64, I was like, maybe I'll try Pokemon.
Yeah.
So that's Pokemon Stadium is what really got me into the genre. And then by the time my friend was like, oh yeah, I'll give you mine for free, I was like, heck yeah, finally I could play a main game.
Yeah.
And it was Pokemon Gold, where the surprise at the end is like, oh, we beat the Elite Four, awesome. And it was just like, oh, now you get to go to the other region, and there's like, you've only played half the game. It's like, wait, what? That was a big surprise. But yeah, I don't know if I'll ever see another 16 gym Pokemon game.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty happy to release the bare minimum, sadly. I don't know. There's a couple games coming out, though. They got Arceus. Who knows what that's going to be like. They have Diamond and Pearl remakes this year. I might check those out because I haven't played those ones. So I don't know. So I have a list where I cross off. I'm trying to play one game in each Pokemon generation, and I'm almost done. Diamond and Pearl would be like my second to last, and then I have to play Black or White. And then I'll be done.
Nice.
I make a video about that and be like, I played them all, so you don't have to. They're not great. I mean, they're pretty good games, but I don't know.
Yeah.
when you get older and you played so many, you get more refined tastes for what is a good game or what you want to spend your time on.
Yeah, I haven't played that much Pokemon. I used to, growing up, I played Red and Yellow a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that was essentially it. My friends had like Pokemon Stadium and stuff, but and then when I got older, I got on my 2DS, I got a Pokemon Gold.
Right. Or Heart Gold,
so
or just regular Gold?
Just regular.
Oh.
So I haven't played many of the Pokemon games. I'm not huge on turn-based battles. And so after a while it feels a little tedious. Especially when like I'm trying to, like, I'm in a really rough area and I've got like one Pokemon that I'm trying to level up, but they're too weak to fight anybody, so I'm just like, send them out initially and then send out a better Pokemon, just to get them some experience from being in the battle.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't know, it's so many games out there. You gotta go with what you like after a while.
Yeah.
When you start to figure out what you like, I think my nieces and nephews are starting to figure out what they like in games, because they play a bunch of different games and it's pretty easy to tell which ones they play less of because they enjoy them.
yeah.
They all like Smash Brothers though. At some point,
Oh, yeah?
they go back. Yeah, well, now they have their own Switch, so they're probably all better at Smash Brothers than me by now. It's been a year. I put a good number of hours. I probably put 100 hours into playing that game around the time it came out, but I haven't played it much since. Oh yeah, a new character got announced. That was at E3.
Yeah, I don't know who that character is.
It's just a Tekken character. What's sad is, like, there's a lot of Tekken characters, and it's just like, I don't know. It feels like for some of the stuff they get from fighting games, they just go with the most recognizable character instead of, like, the most interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the fighting characters are pretty similar in how they play and look.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come on. My favorite character in Street Fighter is Vega, the dude with the claws, who I guess becomes the major villain later or something. Because the main bad guy in other Street Fighter games is named Vega. I don't know. But from Street Fighter 2 is the guy with the claws was my favorite. Or even like, was it Zangief? It's the big dude. He would be fun. Or, I mean, even Guile. Everyone knows Guile. We have Guile. We got Ryu and we got Ken. It's like, really? No one likes Ken. But Ryu's fun. I do know how to Hadouken, and so doing it manually in Smash is satisfying.
Yeah.
Right now, I was just checking my phone to see. Probably my landlord's going to come up at almost any time, but before I go, I was going to drive off a cliff. Because, with 5 minutes, I don't have enough time to complete a delivery. I might as well do something stupid, like drive off a cliff. But I did not pick a fast enough truck, so this is going to be very underwhelming. But they did put basically a ramp at the end of the runway, so I'm going to go drive off of that.
Well, I just made a dumb choice that I could get to my destination faster if I just cut through the water here. Thought I could ride these rocks in my Fleet Star.
Oof. Well,
and it's not happening.
Well, don't feel too bad if you can't finish, since we're probably going to be done in just a minute.
Yeah.
Wow, I survived. I went off the cliff and I'm fine. I took a lot of damage, but it was all in suspension and tires, and I'm like, no one needs those. Worthless.
Yeah.
Let's go drive off into the water, into the sunset. Wow, this thing is still driving. I'm like completely underwater and I'm still going.
Really?
Okay, now the engine stalled. Yeah, it took until the entire truck was underwater before it stalled. Because I was driving the catamaran, which is almost amphibious, but apparently not fully. Alright, man. It's been fun. Let's see. Are you at a good point you can recover?
Yeah, I just recovered.
Okay, cool.
And all my trucks are in store.
Been a lot of fun talking.
Or retained.
Catching up on games. Hope you enjoy that Cook Serve Delicious game.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm loving it. It's so stressful, but...
yeah, the campaign's different, and so it's like a bunch of things in sequence and going to different locations. So I haven't played it yet, but I figured you'd like that.
I really like it. It doesn't have... I was expecting to do like the... like, you know how you have to pack down the trash and...
Oh, yeah.
Like empty the... Yeah, the chores. They don't have any of that. It's just the cooking, but...
Hey, at least you can focus, but then it's just crazier cooking things.
Yeah, it's a lot of crazy cooking.
Yeah, remember us making sushi as the only thing at our restaurant, and we just like sushi. You have to like press the button like 10 times or whatever to like wrap it and cut it. Every cut had to be a button push, and you're just like mashing the button.
Yeah,
that was fun. All right,
it makes me want to get the other ones as well.
Yeah. The first one is, I mean, you could probably get it for free now. It's been out for so long. It gets offered, I think, for free sometimes. Or like 99 cents or whatever. Like it's a good game. It's even on mobile, which is weird, but yeah, the first one's really simple. That's what I like about it. But the second one is probably my favorite because I do like the side stations and stuff. That's a cool mechanic.
Yeah.
All right, well, I gotta go. It's been fun.
Yeah,
thanks for joining me.
Way fun.
Hope you had a good birthday week.
I did.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have to do this another time, and also I'll look into Arma 3 for possible next time. See if we can find some good mods that actually work.
And I think I've figured out the whole public-private network thing, so
awesome.
Should be able to play online again.
I don't know if I'll stream it or whatever, but we'll definitely play it sometime.
Yeah, sure. All right. See you, man.
And all right, thanks for everybody for watching the stream. Hope you enjoyed. We did manage to accomplish a lot, so it's been fun. See you here next time.